Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 214. It's good to have everyone here tonight. Actually, everyone's here. Yeah, everyone is here. Max even is calling in from the bunker, so
yeah,
he went the extra mile.
I'm at a party, and I was like, "You guys mind if I go in the back room with a laptop so I can do the podcast?" And I went, "That's weird, but sure."
that man's in that World War II bunker, bro. I just got done watching the documentary.
That's Dreamcast guy joining us there. He said you're gonna stop by for a bit as we go over Resident Evil Village, and then probably dip out after that. So that's probably fun.
Yes. Cool. Oh, it was a good week though.
Awesome. Then we have Jordan Fringe. Jordan, how's it going?
What's going on? Glad to be here.
Yep, looks good. Minus the N64 shirt. You kind of a GameCube shirt there instead.
I don't have a GameCube shirt.
My man.
Well,
Kick this man off.
Listen, find me a cool GameCube shirt with the logo on. I'll wear it.
I got you a cool.
Too many games. Too many games. You know what? Too many games. If you're there, I'll buy you a GameCube shirt.
That's a good deal,
man.
Why don't you buy me a GameCube shirt?
They got them there. If you're there, I'll get you one too.
Yeah, and the clearance bin for $10.
I'm happy now. I just wanted a free GameCube shirt. That's really all I wanted.
Just like itself when no one bought it back in the day.
MVG's Hayden with the sips.
He's not wrong, actually, technically.
Well, I mean, did anybody buy the Metroid game on the N64? I don't know.
Damn, jeez.
I mean, did they really buy it?
The Fire Emblem game.
Has anyone bought a Metroid game? Really?
Okay, I mean, we'll get to that later on.
Hey, more than N64 Metroid.
Blood in the water. We're like 2 minutes in. There's blood in the water.
Then we got MVG. MVG, how's it going?
What's going on? I was only kidding, guys. I was only kidding about it.
No, you're not.
Great to be here.
I'm really curious about your take on one of the topics tonight with the game builder or game garage builder.
I've got some takes on that.
I'll be in. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to hear about that one. Then we have Sean RGT85. How's it going, Sean?
Hello. Pretty good.
Good to have Sean here. Good to have Sean. We have Miss Click.
Hey, good to be here.
Good to have Miss Click here. Got OJ, Player Essence. How's it going, OJ?
Going pretty good, man. I'm happy.
Good. Then we have Nate the Hate.
Yes. Right.
Go on.
What the hell was that?
What was that? It must have been from Sean. It had to be Sean.
It wasn't me.
What?
Who has a soundboard here?
What was that?
I feel like it was
at your party.
No,
nobody's dead. This ain't that kind of party.
Nate, just admit you're watching things, dude. It's okay.
I'm not watching anything.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna admit to that, huh?
Wait, was it Evan?
It does like a 2005 Screamer. Those old stupid Screamer videos. Sounds like one of those ones.
Then we have Evan hanging out, monitoring the chat, making sure the stream's still up and running. We have a bunch of things to go over tonight. We got Resident Evil Village, of course, came out this week, and people have already beaten it, which we'll go over that one. And we had Game Garage Builder from Nintendo, which is an interesting game to have announced from Nintendo and published by Nintendo. And I figured E3 would go over Sega tonight because, Sega needs some kind of W here soon. So hopefully it's at E3. And then I wanted to also talk very quickly about the Metroid and Fortnite rumors that came up after some of those documents came out showing Epic Games, I guess, pursuing or still thinking about Samus Aran in Fortnite. Tonight, we do have a sponsor, that's Skillshare. We'll talk more about that later on. Just want to give them a shout out early on. Thanks for supporting the podcast here. So let's I guess start with, actually, you know what? I want to start with Returnal real quick, mostly because I said last week that we would talk a bit about it since it was still kind of early. A lot of us just got our hands on it. And I wanted to quickly talk about this before we go into Resident Evil Village and get started with some of the topics.
What a mess of a game. I've beaten it. I just have to go through Biome 6, fight the last boss to get the secret ending. But this game has crashed on me numerous times.
That's right where I am too, actually. Yeah.
The game, like, I jumped into the water to go into Biome 6, and the game just hard crashed. I was like, okay, well, I'm sending that to Sony. Thanks. Then I was fighting Biome 4 boss, has the pipe organ, have an audio glitch. I had no sound. I was like, okay, well, this is supposed to be like this epic musical boss battle I can't hear. And then I redo it.
You don't need sound?
Well, you'd want to hear the music.
No.
Playing the piano.
Just play your own music.
The piano.
Bantu Pichu or something, or whatever that is.
And then I reload it to fight it, and I get another audio glitch, which is, I was like, this game is ridiculous. And it has a great gameplay loop. I enjoy the shooting. I enjoy the weapons. But this is a technical disaster. They need to patch this game several dozen times.
See, I didn't have that many glitches or issues with mine like that. The most obviously was when it was going to auto update, and I had auto update off, which is good because auto update apparently came through and just wrecked people's saves.
It did mine today. I got screwed on a really good run today.
Well, I mean the save game glitch where it erased people's save games completely.
Yeah, that completely corrupted your save file.
No, it didn't completely corrupt my save file.
No, but like if you had a run going and like you had it in rest mode and update it closes the game down to update it, and like it happened. That seemed to happen to a lot of people. That happened to me
yesterday. Yeah, I had max integrity, max weapon. I had the astronaut figure. I was rolling through the biomes, and yeah, I didn't play for a day, and then that update came and just killed it. And I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I love this game so much. It's so cool. It's like one of the most innovative games I've played in a long time, but I just don't want to go back and play it again because it just pisses me off that there is no autosave in this game.
I have a very different experience from y'all, which is that I've had one hard crash in like 27 hours. I've had one hard crash, which I know is now unique. Most people are having it crash much more. And I did have one loop glitch death where one time I was going up to one of the fabricators to like make an item, and I pressed skip cutscene because why the hell am I going to watch it 3D print me something? And for some reason, it teleported me to the ground, and I just fell infinitely, dying again and again, basically. That was the only two real glitches I've had. I have had no sound issues. I've had no real anything. So for me, it's been a more positive experience. I still think the game is an 8 out of 10. I definitely enjoyed beating it and stuff. But yeah, it definitely still feels a little bit like now that we're in that $70 price tag era, it's still, to me, even as much as I love it, it still feels not quite worth that 70.
Okay. Absolutely not. I definitely don't think it's worth the $70. Like I'm at the point, I'll get this last trophy, for the secret ending, and then the only things I would have left are the surveys. But I am not doing a game of luck.
Yeah.
Hopefully this glyph shows up or this room so I can finish the entire searching of these labyrinths. Like this is a game I think I'll pick up in 2 years when it's $15 on Black Friday and it's been patched 24 times and they've introduced, new balancing, maybe a save feature, and I'll gladly play through it again. But right now I think it took me 18 hours to beat. I died like 16 times. I was like, you know what? I've had my fun with this game. It was a solid rental for a week. I don't regret the time I've spent.
It is a good rental.
But this wasn't a $70 game. At the end of the day, I think that's asking way too much.
Someone in the chat just said its name should be Return It.
Here's the thing with this game, though, man. Like, honestly, like I like PlayStation games and I'll play them, but this is the only game that's gotten me like literally like addicted to it. I know everybody here like God of War and like Death Stranding and certain other games that have came out, but this is the only game that I've played in this gen. Right, we're pretty early. And last gen that I've been legitimately thinking about and addicted to. Like I always have it on rest. Yeah, it has that pull. Mechanically, like MVG said, it's one of the most innovative. It's a 3D bullet hell shooter done extremely well. That you just don't see that. It feels like Super Stardust HD, but like you're playing 3D. Like it's crazy. There's nothing else on it, and that's why I said like there's crazy potential.
Just to check, have you played Risk of Rain 2?
I've played Risk of Rain, but I don't like road games.
I played 2.
But I played Risk of Rain. But this game has like the hook is so good with this game, man. I love it. It's like my favorite PlayStation game.
I think
this last gen and this gen.
I feel like the hook should be stronger in this game because it feels like death. It really is meaningless. It's you died, do it again. There should be some sort of give or take with the death. It should be, hey, you've died 5 times. We're gonna maybe get a bonus, or we're gonna punish you.
No, you're
have
right.
some repercussions from this. Otherwise, it's just you're dead.
Like that though. To me, that's part of the addictive nature for me, Nate, is the fact that you just instantly pop back and the day resets. To me, like I once had a 3.5-hour run, like a nearly max health. I had a really freaking good machine gun. My weapon skill was so high. I was so happy with it. And then I just had a bad dodge, fell off a cliff, basically died. And I literally screamed, literally went, freak! And then I picked up the controller and I went right back in. And I feel like that's very rare, is where you can die and instantly be like, well, I'm starting again.
So I almost think, like, looking at this game, it feels like a rogue game that did go into development like 3 years ago before like these roguelike games started really evolving with Hades and some others. So they probably took the ideas from back then before some of the other games showed up, put it into a game, and maybe over time through updates they'll start to evolve it a bit more. I mean, it depends on, I guess, the runway this game has now after release.
Let me ask you a question though, John, and to everybody here. Do you guys think it was actually a rogue game when it first started development? I don't know if it was.
That's a good question.
Actually a rogue game? Do you think? I think it was something else, and then they decided to, hey, let's make this. We got to make this $70. How's a way to get people to get more hours out of it? Let's make it a.
I see what you're saying.
It's so wonky the way that this game is structured. Yeah. It's a really wonky structure to where you wouldn't think that they were making a rogue game from the very beginning.
I kind of agree with you, and one of the areas that stands out to me that maybe some element of this game was changed in development is that there is no boss in Biome 5.
Yeah,
it really stands out that one.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, there's a boss. There's just like 3 mini ones.
Yeah, it felt weird compared to the structure of the rest of the game, where you just kind of have this one biome where it's, you got the key, jump in the water. Like, okay.
I think the story was that was super last minute. I think it was probably supposed to be like this from the start, and then about like 2 years into development, they're like, oh, we should have a plot and character, because the fact that the story is optional. Yeah, the house is optional. That's baffling to me.
It does straight up connected when you go into that house.
Yeah, I didn't even go in there till like literally hours and hours and hours into it.
I did. I wanted PT vibes, man.
I didn't know. Somebody told me, I was pretty deep into playing it, and I talked to another reviewer, and he told me, oh, if you go there, you unlock the extra lives. And I went, what? So I went back. So literally, I just walked past that house like 50 times.
You get the cool dash. Yeah, you get the cool dash from there and all this. So, but yeah, it does feel disconnected, because when you go into that house, it feels like a different game for the entirety of being in there. And it feels like they put that together, and they were like, ooh, how do we attach this game to this game? And they're like, you know what, just put a house in there, and they walk through and they go into this other game, basically. So.
I really like it though. Gameplay wise, man, this game
is great.
Gameplay is so probably some of Housemarque's best.
Absolutely.
Minor things that's really keeping it from, I would say, achieving greatness. It's just it's technical issues. It's the no save progress. It's
that's the worst.
Bugs. Even some of the visual performance, like the pop-in, can be jarring, especially when it's the Biome 4, the Echo Garden. You can just see the greenery popping up in front of you like you're playing a Switch game.
I wonder if this game is just going to get, like, from now, like, let's say 2 years from now, this game really will be like top tier. Like, we look back on it after all these updates, and we're like, this game is incredible now. After
it's gonna be one of those beloved Sony games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that we talk about in like.
So that means it's not getting a sequel then.
Yeah, so I was gonna say Days Gone Joe.
Do you guys just think this game is too? I think this game is too hard for most people. Like for most people, I think this game is way too hard.
Isn't this the game that brought up the conversation around if you should beat the game to review it? This is where it came up around, right?
Was this game week? I don't know if it was directly related, but yeah, it's definitely the week that started that conversation.
I feel like it was from this. This game is obviously harder than average games. Yes,
I think most people that play this are going to be like, dude, screw this. I don't want, especially once you get to buy it. Like once you get to those. They're just gonna say, if they don't know about like you said, Dreamcast guy, you didn't know about the house at first,
because it doesn't even telegraph it.
Yeah, you got to go back. I mean, to me, this game is way too hard for most people.
I think when you get to that third biome, that's where things really kick up, and you're like, whoa, okay, this is a bit more difficult than most.
Even
people
those guys that teleport, like a lot of people will just be like, they're gonna get jacked up by those guys, and I just think that this is just too hard for most people. If there's no because a lot of people like to play games on easy, like believe it or not, like or normal, and like this doesn't have an easy or normal.
No.
It's just hard from the beginning.
And you can't rush. That's the biggest deterrent to casual gamers, I think, is that you really can't run through rooms. Even if the other door is unlocked, you should always kill everything in every single room. And I feel like people don't think that way anymore. Like the way we grew up with games where you just murdered everybody to even move to the next screen. But I feel
I love it. I love the difficulty. This like invigorates me to play the game.
Yeah,
for sure. Me though, a hardcore game.
I like it, but it definitely, man, did it beat me up. I'm not going to pretend it was a smooth ride. It beat me up.
It's rough. It's a rough game. But you like that, though. Like, it makes you feel like back in, like, the NES days. It's like, remember when you'd play, like, back in the NES and the Super Nintendo, like, you'd be getting your ass kicked, and you're like, no, I gotta beat this,
I think it's one of the areas that
you could still leave the console on, 2 days later, come back and your game would still be there.
Yep.
I think that's one of the areas they can refine with the game.
That's part of the game.
Is that as you're playing it, like one of the so much of it is just dumb luck of the run. Is you might get a bunch of proficiency gems, or you might get a bunch of health gems, and that makes a world of difference. And then there's other times everything is malignant, and it's like I'm skilled at the game, I can beat this level, but you're giving me awful loadouts of items, so it's just, well, I may as well, go fuck myself because the game.
Yeah, there are a couple runs. I figured the game just hated me. Like,
yeah, it's like everything's malignant, dude. You're like, dude, screw it, I'm taking the chance.
Yeah, I have a malfunction. I have to take a chance again because there's nothing here that's not malignant. Damage again, major malfunction. Can't get any health items. Pick up an item, suffer damage. Like, what can I do? Your gun, you die. Like, well, this was fun.
The worst one, Dreamcast guy. The worst one is when they do like the counter, like when you get the malignant, like where it like hits you and like they counter when you hit them. I hate that. That's like, I swear, the worst one.
I think the two that annoyed me the most is something about your mini map is glitched. That annoyed me because I would stare at my mini map so much to find health items and stuff. So it just being lightly scrambled would annoy the hell out of me. And I did personally, because I used the sword almost exclusively. I hated the one where people became acid when you killed them, because I would laser beam people and then get acided.
Actually, Max, that's a good question for you before we move into Resident Evil Village. Is what do you think of that? Since you're someone who will at times sit down and try to go through a game as quick as possible to beat it for review. You think reviewers need to beat their games before they review them?
I think they do. The big thing to it is that, in my opinion, the whole you have to have the context. My thing is, typically I try and roll credits. I try and achieve the ending, and then I try and do 20% of the side quests. That's my personal rule, because I feel like even beating the game sometimes isn't the full experience. I will say that I don't think you necessarily have to unlock all the secret endings, because some of them take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. But the idea that you could just like previews, play 3 hours, tell people your thoughts. That's why sometimes I do the Does It Suck videos. People have asked why I do the Does It Suck. It's because sometimes I just play 5 hours of a game and I want to talk about it. Sometimes I can't make a review out of it.
Well, how would somebody, if that's the case across the board, I'm curious how someone would review an MMORPG.
Well, so
good luck with that.
Well, there was this guy who actually did a 5-part series about World of Warcraft Classic, where he spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to review the game before he said that like MMOs are kind of unreviewable.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking about that. Or even, I guess you could technically say sports games, because there's no ending to a sports game, but like you could play that enough after like 10 hours and probably be like, all right, this is what I think of the new Madden game. It's just like the last one.
Somebody in my comment section once said that Call of Duty or Fortnite can't be reviewed. And they say the point they made in my comment section was that because it's about the next update, part of it is the hype cycle for new map, new character, new skin, new gun. A game like that, it doesn't matter what you put on paper now because it's instantly outdated like the game is. And I kind of agree with that.
It's a good point.
I think for me with Returnal is I haven't had any of the glitches or problems and stuff like that personally, but I also haven't put a significant amount of time into it yet. I got quickly distracted with both Pokemon Snap and then for some reason I got hyped for Ratchet and Clank, and I decided to play the PS4 Ratchet and Clank. So that's what I've been playing instead. And it's not that I don't like Returnal, it's that I'm hearing all these horror stories throughout the entire week of everyone's problems, and I'm like, you know what? I want to play it more, but I can wait. I can wait a little longer until there's some things patched on, and I have plenty to play. Games are like what's is it next week? Mass Effect.
Yep. Then we got
next week.
Next week, next Friday.
Take all my attention. There's 3 games right there. They're gonna take all my attention. We got Mass Effect
coming up. We got Biomutant coming up.
I thought it was the end of the month. Yo, let's go.
Yeah, Friday.
I'm excited.
I'm flying, dude.
Yep. A lot of stuff's coming up.
Freaking go.
So I have a question. Do you see this game going on sale anytime? With that
I thought you were going to ask which Mass Effect to start with.
I hope it does.
Click
3.
No.
Don't start with 3.
Click. You gotta play.
I'm gonna play Mass Effect. Can we answer the actual question?
I hope so. Like, my personal hope is that this game hits $40 in the next couple months, because I think it'll be a lot more successful.
Wait, you think Returnal? You think dropping price in Returnal is gonna happen?
I hope so. I think it's on nothing, but I hope.
I kind of think it's gonna stay $70 for like the next 2 years.
I agree.
It's gonna be 2 years.
And then they'll announce a PC version like.
Okay, so if Demon Souls is still 70, why would Returnal be
Okay.
I think a lot
in a
that's going to
couple
come
of
down
months.
to Returnal is going to be something similar to what we saw with the Order 1886. Is if you're seeing a lot of returns because people have played the game, they've gotten frustrated, they said fuck it, and they've traded it in. You're going to have that huge surplus of just used copies, and new copies aren't going to be selling.
You know, here's the thing though, they didn't ship a lot of physical copies in this game. I have retail contacts, and they said they got potential, like the Best Buy got 15 copies.
I couldn't get a copy of Returnal at Best Buy physically. I actually pre-ordered it and they canceled my pre-order, so I had to buy it digitally.
I got it on Amazon. It's easy.
They didn't have it at Best Buy.
That's Amazon, but a lot of the retailers in certain places are just not getting copies. Walmart had 3. A freaking Walmart had 3 copies on launch.
Yeah, so I kind of think they're going to keep this game at 70 for a while.
Could you see on a PC though? A game like that, I feel like
that's what I would like. That's one that would. Yeah,
I can see it on the PC.
I can see it on PC.
That's the one. That's the one thing that I think kept me most from wanting to just go past all the hiccups that people are talking about and try it. The main thing was I just want mouse and keys for it. So I mean, I think it'd be great if it came to PC, because I'm not the only one that feels like that. A lot of my friends feel the same. Just playing shooters with sticks nowadays.
I think that's one they'll push to PC. I think so.
I think the game actually supports keyboard controls if you don't patch it.
Yeah, that's the thing that was just leaked. Yeah, the unpatched version.
Those cheats, you could press like Control Alt and
1, 7, and 9. Yeah,
you could like shoot your guns or
weapons and stuff.
The thing, Click, is that the game is like crazy auto aim. So to be honest, I don't know how much a PC is that's going to get you so much better, because of like the reticules and how it works. You pretty much just hit people on target most of the time, and then like you can zoom in for critical hits with certain weapons.
Oh, so like it's heavy aim assist is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like you can turn it all the way up to high to where it literally just like auto tracks. But so many weapons just have like auto tracking, auto like seeking, all sorts.
Okay, so
You don't really need super precise aim in this one.
Let's move into Resident Evil Village. I've been playing it a good part of today. I think I'm halfway done the game. Sean, you already finished the game.
I did.
How long did it take you to beat it?
A little under 8 hours.
A little under 8 hours. It's not a terribly long game, basically. But I mean, Resident Evil games typically aren't very long. Technically, like you can beat them. Max, you were speed running Resident Evil 2. How fast?
Yeah, 58 minutes was my fastest run.
Oh, they're not super fast games if you want to go through them that quickly. But like, it seems like people are beating this game in about 8 hours, basically, just in basic, casual like time that you take to go through it, not trying to even rush. But I'm noticing some differing opinions here, because some people seem to like first person, other people do not, and I kind of see both sides here, because I've been playing it, like I said, and there are some interesting things here in the game. I'm going to try not to spoil it for a lot of people in the chat, because there are some legitimately good moments in the game when you're going through it. But what's everyone think of RE Village so far? Max, you already finished it. Sean, you already fixed it. MVG, you're playing through it now.
I got it on the Xbox, and I'm 3 hours, actually almost 4 hours in. I don't want to spoil it. I want to say where I am, but you guys probably know 4 hour mark where I'm probably am. I love it. I'm loving it so far. I think it's awesome. I'm into it.
Okay.
I want to try beat it this weekend if I can. Yeah,
I'm enjoying it right now too, with what's going on currently. But I want to see some of these bosses that are being described to me, is what I'll say. I want to see what they exactly do here, and how their I guess their entire level that leads up to them is. Before I give it a final score or thought on it. But Sean, what'd you think of your playthrough? Because you expressed some opinions on Twitter about it.
I was gonna make a video on it, but I honestly don't want to deal with stupid fanboy bullshit, so I probably won't.
That's the whole point of having a YouTube channel.
I'll make a reply video. It'd be great.
I honestly, it's not great. Like, I don't think it's great. I think it looks good. It looks good. I think
it looks incredible. I'm gonna say it looks incredible.
It looks good. I'm playing on the Series X. Definitely some very visually pleasing moments. There's a lot of problems with the game though that nobody seems to talk about. First off,
because there are none.
The game is not scary whatsoever. There's no horror. There's no tension. It's.
I'll agree with that.
Compare it to Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 scared the dog shit out of me. Games like Outlast scared the dog shit out of me.
You didn't even play that in VR, did you?
No.
I did.
Dude, that's like next level, like scary played in VR.
Really good.
It didn't. The whole time I'm like, this game never scared me. Like you had some tense moments, but the standard difficulty is way too easy. I died a fuck ton playing Resident Evil 7. I died maybe 4 times my whole playthrough of Resident Evil 8. The latter half of the game, I didn't like the setting at all. I know Max really liked it. I hated it. I thought it was cheap.
It's silly.
I thought it's very silly. There's a lot of weird, silly moments. The story goes all over the place. I don't think Ethan's a super interesting character. Even how everything plays out in the game, I still don't think he's a super interesting character. I don't know. It could just boil down to the fact that I prefer third-person Resident Evil games, but I just felt like the pacing of this game was all over the place. Things happen in the game that, and they happen in all Resident Evil games. They don't really make sense, but I was definitely shocked at how short or how long it did not take me to beat the game, because I saw most people say, oh, well, if you go through it fast, it's like 10 hours, but it's like 13 hours if you play it. Look, I got most of the secrets. I always read all of the stuff in the game because I'm interested in the lore of the game. And it still just kind of, went by super fast. I don't think it's a bad game. To me, if I did scores, I would give it, high 8 or something like that. But I think 7 was way better in terms of story, in terms of horror representation, in terms of actually scaring you, in terms of item resource management, in terms of a lot of things. And this almost feels like they took like 7's mindset and combined it with 4's gameplay, which on paper sounds good, but I don't know. Like I liked what they did with 7 as far as rebooting the series, but all this made me want is Resident Evil Revelations 3. I'm like, all right, now I can get my Resident Evil game. It goes down to personal preference.
I understand why. Like, I understand why they have the first person like mode set up, because they're trying to do that shock factor when they do certain things in the game. But I gotta be honest, I think it's kind of stayed through his welcome here, because they did this in Condemned. Remember Condemned on the 360 when that came out?
Yep.
Yes.
And they did this moment in the game where they basically like just mess up your character's hand and like hold up in front of you. And it's like, all right, that's pretty shocking. But they keep doing that in these different games now for like the last decade or so. And now I'm to the point where I feel like
man. That scene was hilarious in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Come on.
Which one?
So
There's so many of them. We're like, what?
This is getting ridiculous, though. MVG, this is. Imagine if Leon S. Kennedy got his hand sliced off. How would you feel? Or if Chris Redfield? It's only because it's this bum Ethan that you can't see his face. This guy's dousing liquid on his hands.
This guy's like Jesus, man. He puts the holy water back on.
He does. Water into wine.
It's like Jesus Christ, man.
What is somebody explain this.
Somebody throw this out.
Gets sewed back on too.
Let me just clear up all this Sean slander. So I've beat the game 3 times now. My first playthrough was 12 hours. My second one was a little under 8 hours, and my third one was about 5 hours, because now I'm trying to speed run it for fun. I've also completely done Mercenaries mode. I've unlocked every single thing, and the lightsaber
is fun. I like Mercenaries. I'm having fun.
Well,
with
and
that.
Mercenaries has the Returnal style thing now, the randomized buffs. When you play it, every level has these hidden orbs. You can pick it up that'll give you like more damage or less speed and more armor and stuff like that. Love those elements. To me, I feel like the first person really works. And the reason why is that this feels like a payoff to Resident Evil. Is that Resident Evil, it felt like they kept zooming the scope out. They kept giving us bigger cities, bigger bioweapons, bigger catastrophes. And I felt like 7 and 8 is the answer to that, which is one random doofus who can't keep his fucking hands attached, keeps just running into worse and worse situations. And I like that. I like that a lot.
I'll be honest, though. I think at this point, it's more shocking to see things like Leon getting chainsawed to death with one of those scenes than seeing this dude lose like his pinky and ring finger randomly or something now. So, I just think the first person close up of the violence and gore is just like kind of falling off. I don't know. It's not like it used to be with some of the shock value with these games, to where, like I said, if we were zoomed out and we saw the main character just get lit up in some way, it'd be like, okay, that's a bit more shocking to see that.
That's why I'm genuinely interested at the end of the month, RGT, because Song of Horror, like we've been talking about off stream, coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts on that, because it was a great game.
The thing of it is, it's like, Outlast still scares the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's in a first person perspective. I almost feel like they wanted to sort of go in an Outlast style direction with this game, but then they were like, no way. Like, I almost feel like that this is a game that like they almost changed their mind. Like 3/4 through the development cycle, they changed their mind because that the last setting that you're in the game, which takes up a pretty good chunk of the game, it just feels so disjointed to me from all the other stuff.
I've talked to some people that was always in the game. They did change a lot of stuff in the last year, though. They did add in a lot of stuff to the story to make it connect more to the grander universe. But that was always part of it. To your point, Sean, you're definitely right. The game is not scary at all, and that feels weird at times. Literally never got spooked a single bit, not a single time. Not even jump scares really work in that game. And I think part of it is that the producers said that they found that a lot of people were buying Resident Evil 7. The sales of RE7 were up through the freaking roof, but a lot of people were getting so scared they were quitting. They would say they liked the game, they said they were enjoying the experience, but they simply couldn't complete it. It was too spooky.
Mode. That's fine.
well, so, and that's why I think that one of the things they did is I think they changed it to daytime, because that's definitely one of the weirdest parts about Village is that the whole game takes place during the day. So these monsters are not scary. You will see werewolves crouching on the roof from like a block away and just snipe them.
You got a sniper rifle.
That guy's supposed to be in the dark, I think. That seems like weird. Of like, why would these guys just be crouched on the roof waiting to get blasted by my flimsy disposable hands?
Let me ask you a question for those who like it, because I'm like, I can't stand first person Resident Evil. I've tried to like it. I've tried 3 separate times to play RE7. Played through. Like I think this first person ish needs to go away, or it needs to be just separate, right? Have like a separate type of thing, like Sega's doing with Judgment, with the RPG series and the regular Yakuza or whatever, right?
Dude, it's called Revelation 3, and it will be our savior.
We know that's coming, so that's cool. But I mean, like, do you guys feel that maybe it's not as scary because in Resident Evil 7, your weapons aren't like as powerful? Like this one, you have like the merchant, the fat merchant dude. He's the there. Duke. You can the Duke. You can buff all your weapons. So from my watch, because I've watched everything, I saw the reviews and everything for the game for Resident Evil 8 and 7. You guys think it's because you're more powerful? It's maybe not as scary because you have way more upgrades and stuff in this one.
More powerful and more ammunition.
You kind of roll that.
You have tons of fucking ammunition.
I never felt like I was going to run out of ammo at any point in the game so far.
Yeah, I never did.
Will never like go away. You'll always have ammo. You'll always have powerful weapons and stuff like that. It just, I don't know. I don't hate.
Maybe I'll play it.
I think the biggest thing is, and Sean hit on this point. I think the biggest thing here is that the enemies don't have a lot of health, and so there were times where I was going into like the third area. I had 270 bullets for my pistol, which was fully upgraded, which meant that I bought 0 ammunition. I wasn't even crafting that much ammunition, but most guys go down with 3 or 4 headshots. So it's the type of thing of like, playing on the harder difficulty. So now I've played it on hardcore, and I'm doing my hardest, the Village of Shadows playthrough. The harder you play it, I think the more fun it is, because they do one-shot you. It does make it scary, but it's weird that you have to do that much to get your pulse pounding.
Okay.
Because RE4 is like that. RE4, you never really run out of ammo at all. That's my favorite Resident Evil game of all time.
But see, like Resident Evil 4 is probably the best Resident Evil game ever made. Second, maybe to Resident Evil 1.
What?
But
no, Resident Evil 4 is better.
No, there's a lot of people who complain about Resident Evil 4. They say, well, because that's the shift from horror to action.
Yeah.
Correct.
But Resident Evil 4's pacing is impeccable. The game is almost flawless.
I think that here's a hot take. I think that Resident Evil 8 might be my favorite Resident Evil pacing ever. I like that in Village. I love in Village that you always know the direction you're supposed to walk, but whenever you stop, you can explore and do all the secrets and find the treasure chests and do all the puzzles and stuff. I like the fact that when I want to fight, I walk in the direction of the enemies and do all that stuff. But I love that the game feels a little bit RPG-ish to me at times. So if I can grind on the enemies and spend that money to upgrade my guns, or I can just explore, or I like all the different options.
I kind of want to play it now. I think I'll wait till it's $10.
I will say this though: Returnal's house sequences are scarier than Resident Evil 8.
True. Yeah.
There is one huge jump scare. So yeah, there's like one where I actually got kind of like, woo. And
That's because we're expecting PT. when we walk into that Returnal house. It's got that PT vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's
that's a
100%
very uneasy setting where it's like, what is going on?
Okay. Evan, we got Discord question over there.
We answered the Returnal one, so that's good.
Oh.
John, are you still doing the one-on-one audio podcast? If so, when can we expect the next one?
I am. I'm working on having the next one up in the next week or two. Just getting people synced up and set up for recording. But yeah, we're still doing those. They'll still go up on Spotify.
All right,
So look out for that.
Some Game Builder Garage questions. I'll hold on to those. Someone recently bought the red Japanese PS3. He's wondering if it will be okay to plug into a US power system or if he's going to need to change anything on it so it doesn't burn out.
Nope, totally fine.
Yep, you're thinking more of like in Europe. You got to just be careful with any of that kind of stuff to make sure you don't need a converter or something for here. So,
and when we get the Switch 2, not the Pro, but basically super far distant future Switch, do you think ARM chips will be capable of supporting higher end things such as ray tracing at reasonable power cost?
Oh, that's a good question, because I think we'll probably be kind of into like DLSS territory with some of that. So I think it's possible, yeah, depending on how things go with NVIDIA and their R&D with the lower powered chips. I mean, we're talking like 3 or 4 years from now. So yeah, I think it's very possible we get a chip that can do that.
Yeah, I'd say flat out yes.
If they're still with NVIDIA, which they most likely will be, then yes.
Yep. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we're gonna move into Game Builder Garage here in a second. You know what? Actually, Sean, you actually noticed something. I had a bit of a hiccup in my latest video. It was actually over the week, but I noticed your videos. You don't have as many Easter eggs in there anymore.
No, I've gotten a little better. I have a trick up my sleeve.
Trick up it. What trick is that?
It's a company called Skillshare.
Skillshare is actually tonight's sponsor.
What the frick? That's crazy.
The Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey with thousands of classes on topics like illustration, design, photography, video, and more. Sean, you've been using Skillshare for learning video editing. Is that right?
Yeah, they legit had a program, because I did a sponsor with them before, and I was looking around at the programs, and they legit had a program for the same editing software OJ and I use, which is Power Director. And just like, because I never learned how to use it, I just literally got it one day because I wanted to try something else. So it actually helped me, even just like basic stuff like hotkeys and stuff like that. Like it helped me a ton.
Yeah, the classes are great for everyone, whether you're beginner, pro, or anything in between. Members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions. Right now, Skillshare is offering our listeners a free trial of premium membership through the link below in the description. That's Skillshare.com/SpawnCast. Once again, that's Skillshare.com/SpawnCast to get a free trial of premium membership with Skillshare. Big shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring the SpawnCast tonight. All right, let's head over to Game Garage Builder.
Yay!
Because this was randomly announced this past week. And when I saw this, I was like, yeah, that's Nintendo's version of Dreams.
But cool sell me on this. I guess the whole internet thought this was the coolest thing. I watched the trailer and it looked like Dookie Kaka. Explain to me why this is great.
If you don't like the core idea of building the game in this fashion, you're not going to like it. Nothing we say is going to sell you on it. But it's got some
but
cool
I'm dead
functions.
inside. Will water the flower of my soul.
I know, right?
Look, man, it's really easy. Like, there are so many people out there that want to learn how to make games, and sometimes it's very difficult to really, educate people on game design, how to build games, how to make games. I get questioned on how did you get into game dev all the time, right? And I always tell people you got to start with the basics, right? Like my thing that I tell people is start with something like the Game Boy Advance, right, or the Game Boy. But this particular tool is really a really unique and cool way to learn how to build games, and I think it's an ingenious idea by Nintendo. It's not original, right? I mean, you mentioned Dreams, things like Game Maker and RPG Maker. I mean,
Spider Maker.
Yeah, these things have been around for a while, but Nintendo will make it very, very accessible to pretty much anyone that wants to learn game design. And I think it's cool, man. $30. I'm here for it. My only concern is I hope they support this. Like, I hope they don't just dump it out and then they just don't support it. Oh, this is
Super Mario Party it.
Right. This is something that I feel like they have to continue to evolve over time, and hopefully they will. But I think it's great, and I'm going to check it out. I want to see what I can build with it.
Yeah,
and,
we need to see a video from you.
yeah,
on
I mean,
MVG.
I want to see your games, MVG. That's what I'm excited for.
You got to title it "A Game Maker Reviews Game Maker."
That would get hella views.
I definitely want to make a game or build something with this thing because I think it's cool as hell. So I'm into it, man. I'm into it.
All right, so this was obviously part of Labo in some way. Just the look of it, everything.
It was. It's by the Labo development team, and they basically gave us a beta version with Labo VR Garage, which nobody played, clearly.
I never even bought it.
Yeah, this is from the same company. Labo. This was basically the nail in Labo's coffin. Labo is dead. This should have been branded as Labo. The fact that it isn't even shows Nintendo doesn't even want to touch that branding anymore. They probably view it as toxic. It didn't sell. It's a smart idea. They are just building off the idea of what they had with VR Garage into now a full-fledged game. And they sampled a lot of really interesting little games just in the trailer itself. They had their own version of Fall Guys in it. So what people are going to be able to create should be quite interesting to watch. It's just going to be the matter of like Dreams. A lot of the really fascinating projects were made from creators who were in the beta, and it took them 6 months to really come out with some like those Sonic games.
Yeah,
true.
But when they do, I mean, most of the fun for I'd say 90% of people is just browsing the games that are put up there, downloading them, playing them.
Nintendo has their Nintendo ways.
This is my concern about this game, is that the sharing of these games is going to be harder than it needs to be. I mean, you send a code back and forth, right? That's the idea.
Oh, is it? Oh, there's not going to be like a marketplace?
Well, no, they have Nintendo Switch Online attached to it, but they haven't described like how it's attached to it. That's my thing. Are we sure there's not going to be a browser of some kind where you go through?
If they had to come out and say you're going to get this alphanumeric code, then that means.
I mean, I get the idea of getting a code and then sending it to a friend who wants to work on it. Because the idea is if you have that code, you can also then look at like the game builder like design part. And that's kind of cool if you think about it, because then you can send the code to a friend. And if you're stuck on something or can't figure it out, like MVG could go ahead and fix it and then send it back with his own code, and I can keep working on it or something.
Another income revenue. Let's go.
Yeah. So I think, it'd be interesting, MVG, if you got the game day one and you streamed yourself building a game on your channel.
I think I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to stream it, but I'm definitely going to get stuck in. And one really cool thing about this that I love that Dreams doesn't do is this has mouse support as well, right?
That was interesting.
That may not sound like a big deal, but it kind of is a big deal.
It is.
And I'm really, really into that because it's going to make life so much easier,
Otherwise, we would have used the gyro, because like that's what the Dreams does. It uses like a gyro, and it's just not for being basically a cursor on screen. It's just not as accurate as a mouse.
How do you use a mouse on the Switch?
Plug it into the dock, into the USB port into the dock.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And they showed you can draw your own graphics and all of this. And when I thought about that, I said, how are you going to do that with the gyro? And then and the mouse, comes up. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, you would be able to draw your own graphics in there with like little, bitmap stuff and put it all together.
Can I ask a question about this game? Did they detail, or is there going to be like let's say, like a basic thing that you can play on there that already has pre-built levels that Nintendo's developers have already done?
They said there were.
I hope so.
They said there was like a demo sequence of like almost videos and explanations that you can interact with to show you stuff.
I think they'll have some tutorials and some demos of what you can do with this thing. If they didn't do that, that would be a pretty big oversight. They definitely want to make this accessible. They want to get anyone to build their own games, and offering preloaded assets or the ability to have tutorials or even just demo games on there, I think is something they'll definitely do.
They also said features unlock over time. I think they did this prior in like a 3DS game, where the more you play it, the more they give you to be able to use in it, so that you can try to build bigger things, so they don't overwhelm you all at once.
You know what I find funny is now people can like make Nintendo games and they can't get a cease and desist because it's all Nintendo stuff. Anyway.
It's on Nintendo's platform.
Oh yeah, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. Stop. They're going to show up with a gun. Stop making Metroid. Turn off that Metroid right now.
The game sees that you're doing it and immediately like strikes you down in game. It's like
shuts down.
Would it be cool though? Like in a way, it's kind of also like a way for people to get discovered, almost like scouting for talents too. I think that's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
there were some people that got some people got jobs from Dreams, right?
Yeah,
From Dreams,
absolutely. And this is definitely something that you would put on your resume as something that you could do. Going back to the cease and desist thing, that is pretty funny to think about. Like, what if the first game I decided to build was a 2D Metroid game, right?
Yeah,
they're gonna send it to themselves. It's gonna like cease and desist themselves.
They pat
is that the next level? Is that the next level? Yeah, that is interesting though. They could scout for talent using this game as well, see what people are building. They're like, well, that's actually really good. Who's doing this? And
it feels like
go from there.
Some Ready Player One shit or something of like, it's a game that the best people at the game make the next game.
I mean, they're like Nintendo. I mean, they pay attention. Like there are the stories of them showing up and like finding like different people who have hacked into devices and talk to them about things, and then they end up joining on that HackerOne program to kind of like fast track that. So they've scouted talent from outside of the company before. This is kind of interesting because I think it's actually going to do better than people are expecting anyway.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of interest from younger audiences, which is cool because you could have like, teenage, like 12, 13, 14-year-olds like picking this up and being like, oh, I'll try to build a game and see what happens.
There may be that whole concept of like game jams that they put together where like they give people like 48 hours to build something really cool, and then the best person wins $10,000 or something.
For those
Come on, MVG, it's Nintendo.
No, $100 each app gift card.
Yeah,
you get 100 gold coins.
But for those that live stream,
you'll get a Score Bunny plush.
For those that live stream here, you could set that up with your
get a background for your phone.
You get an RGTA 85 autograph.
No, but I'll say this though: if I was like 12 or 13 and this came out, I would have freaked out. Back when I didn't have like a bunch of responsibilities and editing and work and all that, I would have went nuts on this back in the day. Like this would have been something I would have loved.
I think if they can market this similar to like Roblox, they can find success with the younger audience.
Okay.
Oh God, Roblox, please don't. I'm getting. Don't mention Roblox, please.
But they could even market it to like parents as like almost like an educational experience as well, to where they'd be like, you know what, that's what they're getting for Christmas.
They have to do the opposite of what they did with Super Mario Maker 2.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I think that game probably should have done better than it did. But
here's the thing with Mario Maker 2, though, man. I'm telling you, people do not want to make Mario games. I think
they just want to download
people do not. I tried to do the Mario Maker with my daughter, and it does not work. But New Super Mario Bros, she loves it. She loves it. My nephew's starting to. Nobody wants to sit there and make a damn Mario game. I just don't think people want to do that as much as people think they want to. It's too difficult.
I think a lot of people would rather consume the difficult levels that people have put time into versus making it themselves.
I think this is a little bit different because it's not a Mario game. It's making whatever you want, right? Yeah. Whereas like people already have a set concept of what they want out of Mario. And when you try to make a level, like even the hard levels, this is not Mario. It's just a bunch of people making crazy stuff, right? And they're making it way too hard. It's not Mario. New Super Mario Bros. Or other games, that's Mario. So I think that's the problem that I had playing the game. I think I'd rather just play New Super Mario Bros. As well, or just like a Mario Odyssey. I think with this, it's different because that's what you don't have some preconceived notion of what it is. It's just whatever you're going to build. So to me, it's more appealing than like a Mario Maker. And just
my fear is just the marketability of it. Of anytime you have a new idea of here's this game engine you can play on. Like I feel like Mario Maker, at least it's Mario and I make him. This is like here's a cardboard box you could draw on. Like that's harder to sell.
Yeah, that's definitely my worry as well. Hopefully, like I said, Nintendo will market this thing appropriately. But there's also that fear that, hey, they're going to just ship this and then we won't hear anything about it, for like 3 years or something.
But I think you have to look at the release timing of the game because it is curious. It's right before E3, which potentially means, Nintendo, maybe they'll have something in their E3 Direct where they're going to have a heavy marketing presence of the game to really show off the creative tools that the game has so they get that launch week hype. Or maybe they have another Direct just game focused prior to release, because this is a game you really want to get those creative tools front and center, hype people up about the prospects of building games. And the initial trailer and such was nice, but you have to do more to really generate that hype. Because right now, I feel as though the appeal, while potential could reach older gamers and even the youth, depending on how they market it, it's still focused on that very niche amount of creators like MVG or the people who have committed themselves to dreams. You have to get beyond that bracket of gamers, and you have to show why it could have casual appeal. And that's where, if they can market it like Roblox or even like a Minecraft, you get that mass appeal that the game really needs to thrive. Right now, they just haven't gotten there yet. The pricing, though, is very,
Price is good.
very attractive. It's affordable. It's kind of something, even if you're not that creative, you can say, hey, $30, I'll give it a try. I can play some cool things. And maybe it's, oh, this is actually really accessible. I can make something I can make a Tetris clone. Or you can say, this is still too much of a pain in the ass for me, but people are making cool stuff. For $30, I got my money's worth out of it. They have to really...
Nate, we can make Silent Hill.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Finally, it happened.
I'm not going to make anything. I'm just going to play stuff. I'm not going to make a single level.
You're going to have codes thrown all over forums anyway. If Nintendo doesn't have a sharing function, there's going to be threads all over the place. Just like drop your codes in and explain what it is. So either way, people will start passing levels around. But it should be good. That's out next month, actually, just ahead of E3. So we'll have Ratchet and Game Garage Builder out.
Oof, that's going to be fun.
On the same time.
Heck yeah.
Interesting stuff there. Do we have any Discord questions there, Evan?
See the Game Garage ones. I think we answered this one. This is mostly asking MVG if he thinks it's a good game for like an intro to game dev, which we went over. And then
Yes.
I guess just more information on whether or not it's going to be easy to share levels on it, like Mario Maker 2, which I think they went over. It's going to be like codes
We'll find
or
out.
something.
Well, yeah, we'll hopefully find out closer to launch if they will have a browser of some kind that like Dreams that you just go through levels and stuff.
I would be surprised if it's not set up more like Mario Maker, where it's like the hottest tracks, the newest ones, challenge runs. I could see them having different modes, maybe, possibly. I mean, I'd be more surprised if they didn't have that.
All right, while we're in this bragging point, I'm going to run. I'm not even at my own house. These aren't even my dogs, but I have to take them out. So I love you guys very much.
All right. Bye,
Keep
Max.
playing Resident Evil. You guys rock. Go watch my Resident Evil Village review. It's blowing up. I appreciate it. You guys rock.
I watched it. It was great.
I'm going to go to some of the super chats here before we go over to some E3 talk. I'm going to start with SwiftX Miles. Said, what dead IP do you want to be revived on next gen? Go ahead and say Silent Hill, Nate.
What was the question? I was reading a text message.
What dead IP do you want to be revived on next gen?
Can I say Deep Down, even if it didn't actually come out?
Can I say the Order 1886?
Order 1886.
That's not a bad one.
Chameleon Twist or Croc?
No one said like Dead Space.
Gex Enter the Gecko.
Dead Space will make its rounds again
F-Zero?
eventually.
No F-Zero? Yeah. No F-Zero? No Star Fox?
Oh, I was gonna
Wait,
say
Star
Star
Fox
Fox.
considered dead? I don't think that's considered dead because there was a Star Fox less than 10 years ago. Chrono Trigger needs to come back. Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, one of those two.
That's a good one.
Like, yeah.
What about like Mega Man Legends? That thing's dead. Let's bring
Golden
that back.
Sun.
Golden Sun. Yeah.
Hourglass 2.
Golden?
Zoop!
Soup.
What
TJ
about a AAA
says,
Knights game?
see, now we're
Knights.
talking.
Knights needs to come back. Knights would be great. I actually like the Wii game. I thought the Wii game was okay.
It was
Play
okay.
Alan Wonderworld.
Oh,
If
gosh.
you use a classic controller, it was fine. The motion control sucked.
Oh, you know what? Here's an actual good one. Klonoa.
That's a good pick.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wasn't there some like trademarks about Klonoa potentially coming back and all that?
Yeah, Klonoa Encore was trademarked in Japan last year.
T-Joe says thoughts on Yakuza sticking with turn-based combat while Judgment takes over the classic beat-em-up style. I think it's pretty disappointing. I actually like the idea of them having a turn-based and then them also having that action beat-em-up style with Judgment. I think it's
I
cool.
thought it was a brilliant move because Yakuza Like a Dragon is a fantastic game.
It's very good. Yeah,
Guys,
why not?
it's
They
the
can build
smart
on
move.
that.
It's the smart move to do. Now they can sell you more games. They don't have to just say, hey, this is the main game. They can just make more. They can make 2 series of it, almost like first-person Resident Evil and third-person Resident Evil. I think it's a smart move, personally. I don't play the games, but I think it's smart. From what I've seen, the games look freaking sick. I haven't played it in a long time, though.
Wolf Chain says, still playing Monster Hunter Rise, but I refuse to fight Kezo because his neck reminds me of my childhood camp counselor. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's-
Please seek a therapist.
Hits
Yeah.
Overhype says, gave into the hype and bought RE8 on the PS5. This is my first RE game ever, and I'm having a blast so far. Shout outs to Misclick.
Hello.
Jeffrey says this is the Sixers year. Let's go. Hashtag Sports Wave.
Nope. Doc Rivers coaches. You already know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be
Choke in the block.
That's what I was thinking, man.
Choke.
Tijo says anyway, who here is trying to keep up with the Epic Games versus Apple trial? A lot of very interesting stuff has been happening out of the whole thing. There's too much stuff coming out of that trial. Carlos says only recently started playing Judgment for PS5 and it is fantastic. Can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah.
Junior says, hello everyone. I'm just here to say that OJ extorted me to pay for a question regarding the SpawnCast and that I really love your content. Thank you guys.
It happens, bro.
Fish fan says thanks to the entire SpawnCast for another show. Also, RGT, any good Gma eats this week?
No, not this week. I'm going over there tomorrow for Mother's Day, though, so I'll stock up on whatever she cooked too much of. Pretty sure she said there's a roast tomorrow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Shouldn't you be cooking for her?
No,
Mother's Day, not Sean Day.
men in the family aren't allowed to do anything. We're all idiots and babies, and
Well, that's true.
I mean,
I just roll with it. I don't care.
See, Nate, there you go. You should. There, people saying Sports Wave. You should start up a Sports Wave channel.
last time I
I'll get on there with you.
I complained and said, "Don't talk sports."
That's why you have another channel for it.
I just want to talk baseball and football.
There you go. Good enough. Khalil Ricketts says. There you go. Yeah, see. Khalil Ricketts says, Spawn reminded me that E3 exists, has me hyped. Nate, the Xbox, says Nate wrong on Metroid Starfield 2021. He said,
What?
LOL, a fraud.
When has
It's
either of
really
the
money.
games been deconfirmed for 2021? Exactly. Save your $2.
Tijo says,
If you spend more later, it'll be good.
Oh, cool. When RTU posted that Switch holder review, I think an RGT85 was quietly and gleefully smiling in the background.
I literally have not played my Switch in handheld mode without that thing since I got that thing. Like I would be lost. Like what is this? I can't do this. It's a game changer, dude.
Bradley says, Dear Sean, we love when you lie to us. Warm regards, the People versus RGT Facebook group, Shenmue Live 2017.
Look, Nintendo Everything reported on it first.
Josh says, respect for MVG and his work on the Shantae Switch port.
Thank you.
yeah.
Whitner asks, can I get a Hoya?
Oh yeah.
There you go. Nate, the Xbox. Jeff was wrong about Battlefield 6 reveal and Starfield 2021. Battlefield 6 getting revealed soon.
Yeah, Battlefield 6, it was supposed to be revealed this month. EA simply held it back a little bit, and Starfield has not.
There's rumors about
It's literally new rumors came out today that Microsoft has bought ad time for Starfield to come out in 2021.
Yeah.
So you should probably check some of this information before you make donations.
There's rumors around that Battlefield 6 trailer as well as to why they haven't aired it yet, apparently. I don't know how true that is, so I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but that was interesting if that's correct.
I mean, like, there's a lot of rumors with Battlefield 6. I mean, one of the biggest ones is that Microsoft has secured it as a day one Game Pass release.
Well, really, Battlefield 6 coming out this year, this holiday.
Yes.
So they've already said on their investors call, we're just literally waiting for them to, they would most likely move to do a reveal trailer ahead of E3. And then if they're going to do something bigger at E3, like an EA Play or something, they'll actually show it fully there with gameplay. So that would be my expectation.
That's typically what they do in these types of situations. So, like, Jeff wasn't wrong about that. He reported the information that he had at the time he had it. Plans can change, especially in E3 season. Sometimes a company will pivot and say, you know what, we can wait the month. We can have a better marketing cycle for it. And again, nothing about Starfield has been deconfirmed regarding a 2021 release.
Oh, also, I'm going to tell you this, the stuff that's going around about Battlefield 6, it sounds ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to it if some of the stuff ends up being correct.
A lot of screenshots have leaked.
So, yeah, I mean, what apparently they're going to try to do on next gen consoles is going to be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that. Arturo says, hey, OJ, thanks for the Smash tips. I was finally able to beat my friend thanks to you, but sadly it cost us our friendship. Was it truly worth it? LOLJK.
Yes, it's worth it. Beating people's butt in Smash is like the greatest feeling ever. My brother didn't talk to me for like a week after I started beating him in Smash, and it was totally worth it. And that's blood. So yeah, fine.
Christian says, homesick from work, but finally get to catch one of these live. Much love to everyone, and shout out to MVG for Shantae.
Thank you.
Xavier says, do you guys think it is a good idea to start collecting PS3 games now, or do you do not think the price will raise that much? You know what? If there is a dip on PS3 prices now because Sony's not shutting it down, they're still going to shut it down in like a year or two. So it's not a bad idea to start building it since Sony's basically showed us what their plan's going to be soon enough. So Katana Riku says Sega at E3 means Shin Megami Tensei 5, hopefully. PTP says if you could go to any third-party studio and tell them they have to remake a game with an unlimited budget, what studio and game are you choosing? Capcom, Mega Man X9, $100 million budget.
Konami Silent Hill.
Konami Silent. You're gonna have Konami make that?
Yep.
Really?
Come on,
Or just force them to make them do it.
Oh man, Metal Gear Solid 4 remake. There you go. Or just move it over.
I'd go to Viacom and ask for Zoop.
You're not going to go and ask for a AAA Nights game?
I'm asking for Zoop.
Look what happened the last time he asked for a
Exactly.
He got Balin. He got Balin and a petition.
Or maybe Sega to do a Shenmue 1 and 2 on the Switch so that motherfucker will shut up.
You know what? Every time Sean wants a new AAA Nights game, we got Humans and Balan Wonderworld.
Fuck Humans.
You hyped that game up for that Tokyo Game Show reveal like this is going to be the greatest game ever. Human.
They made it that way.
Human.
We're all just humans being.
You hyped up everyone for a AAA Nights game and we got Human.
We got Balan too. I mean, I'd rather play Human than Balan.
Are you sure about that?
And this is from I Live for Retro. Hey, SpawnCast, how come Microsoft is utilizing their hardware better than Sony? When will we see more 120 FPS games for PS5? That's a good question. I think some of that has to do with the backwards compatibility that Microsoft's really focusing on right now. So, I mean, they really went for it, and Sony's more interested in...
Got Mass Effect 120 only on Xbox.
Oh my!
Yeah, God, I noticed that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was gonna get Mass Effect on the Xbox anyway because that's. I look at Mass Effect and I just kind of relate it to the Xbox, probably because that's where it was back in the day. So I was getting on the Series X either way on Friday, but I'm gonna be picking that up and going 1 through 3.
120 frames per second, Mass Effect, and that's just on an LG CX, bro. That's
gonna be good. Excited.
It's gonna be good.
Old Taco says, after buying an OLED Vita, I genuinely hope the OLED Switch rumors are real. I'll totally buy one.
So do I.
Yeah. Well, who you call it mentioned on their... I had someone send me this. I'll look who it was. Universal... What's the company called? Universal Display Corporation mentioned it on their investors call the other day. So there you go. They mentioned reports of that, which was interesting that they mentioned it on their investors call that Nintendo was going to be using the OLED displays in their Switch Pro. Matt Wallace says, you think we will ever get a direct sequel to Infamous 2?
Yes.
There we go. Khalil says, bought a Series S until I can get my hands on an X, and after witnessing 60 FPS, I now understand why it's a big deal. Chris says, happy Mother's Day weekend to SpawnCast families. Welcome back and happy birthday, Max. Max is gone. I hope Big Booba Lady Misty scares you in your dreams. Mike says, MVG, when is SolarWinds mistakes were made?
Not really my area, but I'm interested in that story though. But I probably won't make a video on SolarWinds. Come on.
Henry says, anybody going to try the Guilty Gear Strive beta next week? That sounds like something up Evan's alley, actually.
Yeah, I'm playing that.
Jeffrey says, Sean, second boss area in RE8 didn't unsettle you.
Obviously not, because I didn't.
No.
So, Sonny with an upside down smiley face. Mr. Pete says, everyone playing RE8 and Returnal, but I'm playing Captain Toad. Also, will OJ be on the SpawnCast? That was a $5 donation.
I am here.
There you go. Sonny with a $1 super chat here. No message. Game Knob says, Doge to the moon. Elon SNL. Mr. Pete says, Metal Gear MG5, now that you are an official, he's supposed to say MVG, now that you're an official Switch developer, are you still allowed to make homebrew on the Switch?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I am.
Okay. Trom says, is the heavily reported rumored Silent Hill still a PS5 exclusive or no? I remember the original rumor was Sony got the licensing.
Nate?
It's my understanding that it is, but Nate hears things.
Silent Hill, the situation of Silent Hill is that there are 2 Silent Hills in development.
Yeah.
One is that Sony has a publishing deal for a specific Silent Hill project. The other was that it was licensed out to a third-party company. In that case, right? It would not necessarily be a Sony exclusive. It would be a multi-platform release. So there's 2 different projects. In regards to the Sony one, that is a very cloudy situation right now. There's a lot of things have changed regarding it, and it's tough to get concise, accurate, timely information on that specific project at this moment.
There we go. And Jungle says, Mother 3 on Game Garage Builder. There you go. We can finally make it happen. Fetch says, can't wait to play through Mass Effect Trilogy again next week. Do you guys think there's any chance that ever makes its way onto Switch? I actually do think it'll go to Switch eventually.
One of the initial rumors before it was even announced that it was coming out on the other consoles, and then the Switch version was going to be later down the road.
Yep.
What do you think, Nate?
What was the question?
About Mass Effect Trilogy heading to Switch at some point.
A potential, it'd be a late release, maybe sometime like next year at best. It's something that they were considering, but it was just never in consideration for a day-to-day launch with the other versions. So it would just be, it's EA's decision, probably at best a year late.
I don't know why, but for some reason, Mass Effect's gonna be one of the if it gets to the Switch, Mass Effect's gonna be one of those like games that's like, kind of like mind blowing as a portable game. I don't know why it's like Mass Effect for some reason.
You can play Mass Effect 3 on the gamepad as long as you're within 6 feet of the Wii U.
Oh my god!
Gosh,
I once was moving into a place, and I didn't have my TV, and I literally sat there on the floor because I was waiting for the cable people to come, I think. And I sat on the floor with my Wii U, and I just played everything on my gamepad because I had to wait like 2 hours for the fucker to show up.
2 whole hours on that gamepad, man.
Yeah.
How did your battery last long?
Well, I plugged it into a wall. I had power in the place.
Okay. All right, let's talk about E3 here. I said I want to try to talk about E3 every week as we kind of build up to the event happening next month. I'm going to pick out a couple companies as we go along here. So I thought, hey, you know what? Sean missed on that AAA Nights game, but there's an event coming up where maybe there's some redemption here. All right. I don't know if it's going to be AAA Nights, but Sega Sega's been having a hard time recently. I'll give them that. I mean, they had the Judgment sequel announcement, which is cool. Gonna have that, but like Sega in general has been having a hard time. They got hit pretty hard with a lot of the COVID stuff with remote work, and they've made mention of that with their investors and kind of reported lower revenue numbers and a lot of projects being pushed off, which is what we assume happened to Sonic or any kind of reveals there. And I assume some Atlas projects are going to be at E3, but what are we thinking for Sega at E3 next month? Do we think they're going to have a major presence, or I guess an above average presence for the different companies there?
No,
that was quick.
I can't have faith in them anymore. Like it's just,
man, that AAA, that Balan Wonder, that really hurt you.
Well, that wasn't even Sega. That was Yuji Naka, but technically Square. But it's just it's hard. Like,
yeah, I just mean like Balan hurt you to the point where you just have no faith in any of this stuff anymore. You're just like,
I really don't. I really.
Well, we got SMT5. So
okay,
SMT5
the Atlas part will be fine. There will be your Atlas games. There'll be good stuff on that. But as far as Sega, I look at Sega like a Konami. I expect nothing, and somehow, some way, I'm still disappointed.
Dang, that far? Yep.
It's that far.
What has Sega done? Not Atlas, Sega. What have they done in the past 3 or 4 years? That was like,
they made Sakura Wars, but the problem was that they only made it on PS4. But that's a
Sonic Forces. That was rated like a 36 out of 40 by.
They made Valkyria Chronicles 4.
What the rating was on Famitsu for that. Keep going.
Somebody asked, have you played Valkyria Chronicles 4? That was 2018.
Yeah.
That game was fantastic. Yeah, Sakura Wars is good. I mean, they've done some good things. They've obviously done like the Judgment and all that. The problem is that they've been very weird in terms of their like releases. They're finally starting to actually make multi-platform now. So hopefully they've gotten the picture and they come with a big Sonic game. I think Sonic needs to come there. I think they need to show some ports. People have been wanting to play like Sakura Wars, some Persona games, stuff like that. They need to port some other stuff. If they do that, come with a couple ports, Sonic, maybe something else, like another, like, okay, hey, they're reviving one of their older IPs or something like that. They don't need a lot. That's the thing, like, because we don't expect much, right? Right, Sean? You're not expecting much, so they don't need a lot.
It's time to break the glass and just do the Dreamcast Mini. Just the emergency glass, just break it and do the Dreamcast Mini.
What's the over under Skies of Arcadia? Any chance?
0. I'm gonna go with 0. If there was a negative, you know what? All right, so
there's no licensing issues, right? Don't they own that? Couldn't they just do it?
Yeah,
they just
don't want to.
It bombed. It flopped so bad. They made the Dreamcast version. They're like, okay, well, let's try to get on the GameCube, and then that didn't
bring it back and let it flop again. But we're gonna love it though. So what?
So I think we're gonna see. I mean, I think we're gonna see at least maybe 2 Sonic games. I think we're gonna see that Sonic Colors remaster.
Yeah, we'll see Sonic Colors.
That'll be there. And then I think
Jordan's excited.
I think we gotta get a sequel to Sonic Mania, a 2D Sonic game to go along with it.
No,
everyone likes Sonic Mania. Everyone likes Sonic Mania.
It'd be a pretty quick turnaround on that.
But Sonic Colors is a 2D game.
Yeah,
you can't.
It's Sega. They don't do things that make sense.
No, it's 3D. Well, it's a 3D, but the game is like full 3D though.
Yeah, I mean, like the kind of the like the 16-bit looking. Yeah. I'm thinking more like
both
that.
of them. Sonic fans will legitimately buy. I think I would buy both.
Sonic fans will buy anything though. Let's be realistic.
What if you? Hey, Sonic Forces got a 35 out of 40 for Famitsu. So if any game comes out with Famitsu, you always want to play the game of did it score higher than Sonic Forces or not? Okay, that's what you want to do. But I think they could even do 3 if they really wanted to. They could do the Colors. They could do another 2D Sonic game, and then they could say, "Hey, we're also working on this big Sonic game that's hopefully not terrible."
They'll flash a logo of a 4 on a screen. And
Sonic Adventure 3. I'm in.
Sonic Forces looked. You guys got to admit though, Sonic Forces looked cool when you first saw it.
Sonic Forces looked good until they showed what looked like DeviantArt custom characters, and I was like,
the Sonic community wants the Sonic 2 stuff. They're crazy.
DeviantArt. It probably was them who did it, dude. They be getting people to make their games all the time.
But the other emergency glass, break for Sega is Sonic Adventure 3, because people know, like, they relate, like, an actual good 3D Sonic game. Even though if you go back and play them, what did I say, Nate?
Oh, their moment would be,
oh gosh,
a brand new or an HD collection of Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. That will be a hype moment.
Super exciting though.
Awesome. They could sell 500,000 copies of that. Move along.
Whoa! If people are going to sit here on this cast and bash Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2,
no,
it's not
a game, but it's a
game that they're going to announce. People are going to be really excited. Like, I'll buy it, but then I already know what's going to happen. Anything else that gets announced after that, people immediately will forget that Super Monkey Ball is there.
Yeah, like I get you. It's a good game.
It's just the way it is. Like,
it's a monkey in a ball. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like,
monkey,
it's a monkey
target.
In a ball. We want to see some stuff from Sega. We want to see some stuff from Sega. Man, Monkey Ball's great, but didn't they do like a Monkey Ball Banana Blitz already? Right on
but that one sucks.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
the original GameCube games.
Those are cool.
Legend.
Which would you be more hyped for? Like actual real Persona ports and like SMT and like Sonic games, or Monkey Ball?
I care about the thing that I'm biased towards. Okay.
You know what? Just announce the Dreamcast games for the Switch. Bring those over.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
See? All right. So, okay. Get that done. Get some Sonic games out there. Do something with Sonic. Like Sonic like fell off the edge of a cliff recently. I don't know what happened there. So because we already know a new movie's in the works. That's going to happen. So you maybe actually plan this out and line up your next big 3D Sonic game near the movie, so you can kind of capitalize on that hype, get that marketing going, and make it Sonic Adventure 3. And there you go. That's it. And then talk about Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like, you gotta talk about that. Like,
please. It was like the first Switch, like the first Switch game ever announced, and like it hasn't even came out yet, man. Like,
you gotta talk about that. Like, yeah. And I assume they'll show more of the Judgment sequel there as well. So seems pretty strange. I don't know. You think they'll do any other kind of Sega Saturn ports or anything?
No.
Well, maybe because there's that one company that's doing some of the old Saturn remakes. So I do wonder if they've got some type of thing where they can.
You mean forever?
Dragon Saga? Dragon Saga?
No, not forever. It's one of the Japanese companies from the
they're doing the cotton.
They're doing the Cotton games, right? Cotton Boomerang and Cotton 2, I think. So they've obviously got Saturn emulation running on the Switch. So there's a chance that we may see some more throwback games come to the Switch. That'd be cool.
Okay, I'm alright with that. That'd be cool.
I'd love that.
I would like to see Sega actually have like a big showing next month, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I mean, some of the stuff's been pushed back, so
maybe, like I said, John, our expectation for Sega is at really low. No matter what, it's low. So it wouldn't take people like, oh wow, Persona on PC. Well, this is a great. That's all they did.
That's a good point.
They just made one freaking decade-old PS Vita game, and even before that, it was a PS2 game from.
But they were confused that it sold well on the PC.
Yeah, that's what makes
surprised.
Me not, yeah, that's what makes me worried about this company. And then people say, "Oh, you're just trying to want it on Switch." I'm like, listen, they need to do more. Oh, how about this? Nobody's mentioned this. Etrian Odyssey. That franchise has been gone. They've been talking about that coming back. Maybe Etrian Odyssey gets a debut on Switch. I think that's going to happen. I think Etrian Odyssey maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll see something like that. It's a great franchise.
Very good. So here's hoping they have at least something good for Sonic next month, along with something cool with Persona would be, because isn't Persona in like an anniversary year as well? That's going on. 25th. They had mentioned that there was some kind of plans around some of the older Persona games. So who knows? Maybe they start bringing those up.
What about like? No, this is left field, but like Shining Residence Refrain 2 or something, right? Because they did that in 2018.
Yeah.
That was good, right?
They didn't even want to bring that game over originally. So, I mean, if they actually made a sequel to it, I'd be down. I thought it was a pretty good game. I know Sean liked it. So
I liked it.
Okay.
Like
Very good.
Virtual Fighter, that'd be nice.
Hey, guess what? You're gonna be pretty happy soon, actually, for that one.
Yeah, are they doing Virtual Fighter?
What do you?
Something got rated or something.
Yeah, they're gonna move that up. So I think you'll be happy with that one.
Are they going to make that easier to play?
Probably not. It's still gonna be
back when I was playing fighting games, that game is tough to play, man.
It's still gonna be a bit harder to play, but it sounds like they're gonna be bringing that one up. So for like PS5 and everything, so that'll be good to see.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to next month with Sega. Here's hoping. I'm hopeful. I'm looking trying to be positive with them.
Because we all kind of grew up with Sega. So
say it, MVG.
Prepare for disappointment. Come on, let's just be honest.
All I need is one.
Hold on.
I don't care.
Sean just said something interesting there. What did you say, Sean?
Someone in the chat said that we were all forgetting about PSO2.
PSO2. That is also a good one because that was actually supposed to be coming to all platforms, from what I remember, and it hasn't yet. So maybe they announced that it's going to be coming to all platforms in the West. I don't know.
PSO2 is really good, but it is grindy as
it is grindy. It is very grindy. And yes,
it's a commitment. Like any MMO RPG, it's a commitment.
But we are seeing more streamed games on the Switch, and from what I remember, in Japan they stream it to the Switch, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's they do that here in the West for the Switch, and then they also move it to the PlayStation. So I mean, technically they could stream it to the Vita. I mean, they do that in Japan. So there you go.
My expectations aren't high for Sega. Like I said, all I need is like one good thing, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Like that's all. Persona port. I just need one or two good things for them. So even if their show sucks,
E3 and they said, "Here's Sonic Colors HD, and Persona 5 is going to Game Pass."
It's already in HD. Sonic Colors, no, sorry, my bad. I was thinking, Sonic Colors HD. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then Persona's going to Game Pass. That'd be like, we already have Persona on PS5. Like
they show up with 2 announcements.
I mean that's cool.
And they're both older games.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not.
I guess that's true.
That's not that great though. If they did that, because it's like we already have Persona 5 Royal on PS5 and all that, it doesn't bring any new way to play. I mean, I guess for Game Pass people, but it's like nobody's buying Game Pass.
It would break that belief that Persona is stuck on the PlayStation. So that would be interesting, I guess.
That'd be the only thing that would be like, okay, cool. Yeah. Now we know that Persona is not. It doesn't have some type of weird exclusivity.
I like the idea of Crazy Taxi. Let's do that. Let's get Crazy Taxi.
No, you don't want that to happen because it's the people who have it. You don't want to have it.
Who has it?
Oh,
Who has it?
They announced it, didn't they? Let me check.
What?
I'm not revealing that stuff if they didn't actually publicly confirm it yet.
Oh,
What?
I know.
What are you talking about?
I know what they're talking about, Nate.
Shut up, Sean.
what are you talking about?
Sega has it. Yes.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Let me go over here. Oh, Bradley also says, God, seeing the defeat in Sean's face when asked about Sega was brutal. We love that. Do it again. The People versus RGT Facebook group. Are you is there a Facebook group that's just after you, Sean? Are they on you?
I don't know, but if there is, I'd like to join.
Bradley, you gotta let Sean know so he can join that group.
Because I will. I don't care.
Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Only one, and it's how many of you have completed Ring Fit Adventure?
I have not.
I thought I got like more than halfway in, and then I reached a certain point. I realized I was only like just under halfway, and I got so discouraged. But I will say, Ring Fit actually kicked my butt into going to the actual gym. So I'm looking forward to like going back and finishing that now that I feel stronger and stuff. But yeah, no, Ring Fit's great, but it's a huge game. It's huge.
This one's from Fetch saying, I can't wait to play through Mass Effect Trilogy again next week. Do you guys think there's any chance it ever makes its way onto Switch? I do. I think Metroid Prime Trilogy is coming. No, Mass Effect Trilogy. I'm sorry. Metroid Prime Trilogy.
What? Oh.
I was gonna say, didn't we just do a fucking segment about that?
Victor says, literally just beat RE8. It's a top 3 Resident Evil game. Oh, there you go. For me, such a goofy action game with survival elements. RGT, the doll area scared the hell out of me.
I mean, yes, but then that goes into the pacing of the game being weird, and I don't know.
Logan says, in late 2019, there was talk that MLB The Show 21 was going to be on Xbox and Switch. We have an Xbox version available, nothing for Switch. Do you think it's canceled or possible wait for Switch Pro? I think next year. Yeah, they need an extra year just to get it, make it work. So, Designer Core says, if the NES gamepad was the father of the D-pad, would you say the DualShock 1 was the father of modern controller design, camera plus movement control, and first-person shooter?
Sure, I'd say so.
Jason said,
yes.
Jason says, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You're not Marshawn Lynch.
Bradley says, why does Nintendo Game Builder have hype around it when Unity is a free download and there are tons of resources available for free?
It's for people who are just getting into it.
Yeah.
Nintendo dressed it up very, very well.
You can download Unity. It's free. And then you get a blank screen with all these buttons and icons and stuff. And it's like, figure it out. So
don't you even have access to Unreal Engine right now? Like you can just get on it and tinker around with it. Like,
Yep.
Christopher says, does the LG CX look good with darker themed games?
Yeah. I mean,
I think
Returnal's darker.
Resident Evil looks good on it when you go through some of the darker pathways and stuff. If
it's got a good HDR implementation, it's gonna look top tier.
It pops really well off that screen.
But if you're wondering about, you really have to make sure that you like tune it, like if you just play it out, it's gonna look like it's trash, like you wasted your money. So make sure you watch the people that can help you.
There are some YouTube. There's one person on YouTube that does
tests.
They go through the settings and like, these are the HDR settings you want for your TV, and they do it for a bunch of them. So any OLED, after you tune it, like any of these games that have that are like you said, dark themes are going through dark areas, but then there's like patches of bright spots. It looks great on it. RDX says Returnal is a $70 quick resume commercial. yeah. Gilbert says, is Miss Click there? Oh, because Miss Click is Miss Click there because she is the best. And by the way, I might make a tier list for you all soon. And me characters are the best for Smash Bros. My favorite character ever.
A tier list.
There you go. Sheriff, no message there. Thanks, Sheriff. Christian says, do Switch game developers know more about new Switch revision first? MVG, stop holding back on us and give us some good facts already.
Well, I don't know anything. And if I did, the answer is I still don't know anything.
There you go. Hawk says 250 hours in Monster Hunter Rise and still loving it. Game of the year for me. RDX says everyone is sleeping on Scorn. Sheriff says this should have been attached earlier. I'd love the podcast. You guys keep killing it. But Nate, what happened to my Dark Alliance on Switch. On the Switch.
Catastrophic failure happened. It'll come back to Switch once they fix the problem.
What happened?
It's not too long. I don't know specifics as to why they had to pull it, but if you literally are launching a game on a Friday and then immediately have to say we're not releasing it on the Switch due to issues, then something failed and they ran into some sort of bug that they could not launch that game. But it shouldn't be too long of a delay. So
they said it's only going to be a few days.
Yeah, it's something minor. It's nothing to concern yourself with.
Danny says, any tips on best ROM sites trying to avoid viruses?
Just go to our web archive, archive.org, and Google, and just search in there. You'll find whatever you want in there.
Ross says, Sportswave NHL. Connor McDavid just scored his 97th point, 130 minutes into a game versus Vancouver. 3 points to go for 100 points. I'm telling you, Nate, set up the channel.
I don't watch hockey.
Set up the channel. We'll do sports.
I'm telling you, you guys can we're all going to do it this upcoming football season.
There you go.
Got that. I'll have, you guys can all, or whoever wants to come on, you guys will be able to talk sports with me.
We're going to do Sports Wave. Nate, set the channel up. You can do your Around the Horn idea.
Yeah, I need 4 people with me.
I can do it.
You need to go around the horn.
Yeah, we'll make Sean do it too. But Sean can have like the crazy rants randomly, and then
he'll be like Woody Page.
All the points,
he can have the chalkboard in the back, like, girl didn't cut my toenails tonight.
I'll be Stephen A. I'll be Stephen A.
Today, it's one of the worst days I've had in a long time.
Jay Swamp says, shout out to OJ for recommending Persona 5. I just beat Persona 5 Royal, and it's one of the best games I ever played. Amazing story and characters.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Vanessa says, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis closed beta starts next weekend and is a different game from the base Phantasy Star Online 2. Looking forward to testing it. Tariq says, does video game cover art matter nowadays?
Like it used to.
It's a form of marketing. Yeah, it's going to have some impact.
It's still like a cool cover on a game.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's a lot of stuff's going all digital now. So like the cover used to have to grab you like big time when you're walking through the store.
Yeah.
It still kind of does that in an online shop because you'll still see the online shops that use art rather than just a screenshot.
The icon on your home screen is the most important thing now.
But I do think that back then it was a lot more important because we didn't have the reviews like the online and the cell phones and all. Because I would walk through like Video City or like the stores and I'd be like, that's why I rented Dragon Ball GT because the cover looked cool. Man, that game sucks though, man. Like,
let me tell you, I guess the one good thing now is that Microsoft doesn't have that. Remember, I used to have that big sticker on the front for the Series X. Compatibility. They made it so it's like this little Series X sticker on the top now, so it's not like all over the cover. It's just like this little one right up here. So I must ruin the cover.
I bought Guilty Gear X for the PlayStation 2 because the cover art was insane. It was so beautifully drawn, and then you look back at all the Konami games, like the Castlevania titles. Yep, that cover art was spectacular.
The best is when you compare
Japanese Mega Drive games I bought because I love the covers way better than the US Genesis
the best
games.
Is when you compare that like Ico for Japan's cover versus America's.
The horrendous American version where he's just like, "Hey guys, look at me," and it's a beautiful artwork for Europe.
How about Mega Man's cover for?
Oh gosh, Mega Man X cover art was good.
Yeah, the original Mega Man's.
Oh my gosh!
For those who don't know, too young, go look up the original Mega Man cover arts for the NES.
Was it like Mega Man? Was it 3 or when they started to go more normal with it?
I think it was 3 or 4, but I know like 2 and like 1.
I remember the first one was bad. Like it was like Ooh, 1 was ugly. That was not good. And it took a while for them to even get his character model right on the front cover until they got to like Mega Man 6 where he actually looked correct. So,
but Mega Man X cover art was freaking amazing, man.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That's why I first saw it. When
art is so bad. And Sony's like, why did it bomb? I don't know. Look at that thing.
Zyra Miller says the new gameplay for Biomutant looks really good. Don't sleep on it. I agree, Zyra Miller.
I'm gonna pick it up.
You should tell Nate that.
What?
Yeah, downplaying Biomutant over there. Comes out May. You said it was gonna be canceled. Comes out like May 25th.
Yeah, it's too close to Ratchet and Clank for me.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna pick it up though. I'm looking forward to it. It has looked better as they've shown it. So I think it's looking pretty good. I'll pull up Streamlabs after we finish up our final topic. I put this one in.
Rhode Island fact this week.
What? Huh?
Rhode Island fact. In the NFL draft, we had a high school athlete taken in the first round by the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
That's your Rhode Island fact.
Who was it?
What's his name?
That's what everyone thought. Yeah.
What's his name?
Guy's so legendary, you don't even know his name.
Hold on.
What's his face?
You stopped the entire podcast to tell us that don't know the guy's name.
Woody Pay.
You should just made up a name immediately.
Woody Pay
no one was going to look that up.
Batu Pay is playing now.
Batu Pay.
Woody or wouldn't he pay? That's the question.
No one was going to look that up, Nate. You could just said any name. We've been like, all right.
What
cool.
position, Nate, real quick? What position does he play?
He's defense.
Maybe you are making this up. I don't know. You might be making this up. I don't know.
This is one of the best facts ever.
He went to Bishop Hendricken. He's from like New Guinea.
I thought you said
The University of Michigan.
I thought you said he was from Rhode Island.
He moved here when he was like 3 months old.
Oh, okay.
He was the 21st overall pick.
Did you know that New Guinea is about 200 miles north of the tip of Australia? Australia facts.
Oh, no, Australia facts.
Australia facts. I love Australia facts. Those are the best.
Bringing it back.
Let's go over to the final topic we had tonight, and I wanted to bring this up because it popped up during that Apple Epic lawsuit. And
someone in the chat knew who he was, defensive end.
and it had to do with the idea of there being a Fortnite Metroid crossover where Samus would appear as a character similar to how we have Kratos and Master Chief. I guess it'd be like a playable skin basically in the game. And they were, I guess, attempting to approach Nintendo about it, or they were planning on doing it, and they had and maybe got turned down. It's hard to say because it was mostly just part of their plans, and we know Kratos and Master Chief ended up, actually working out. But what was interesting, I made a tweet about this, and there were people kind of split. Like some said, you know what? No, we can't have that. Like Samus can't go to Fortnite. That's not a good idea. And other people said it was a good idea. So I know, Sean, you're not big on the idea of it.
No.
Okay. So what's everyone think about? All right. Because let's pretend right now, okay, it's on the table still. Would you want Samus to be a skin or a character in Fortnite with the stipulation that it would be available on all platforms?
Yes.
I mean,
Who
why
would say
not?
No? Are people really mad at this?
Sean said no, and I just want to hear him out on this. And I'm curious. I'm curious why.
Explain to me why this isn't a good idea.
Just in my personal opinion, it devalues the brand.
But you always make fun about how no one buys Metroid. So
it's brand awareness.
I'm not saying that's
how's
wrong.
that devalue the brand?
I'm not saying that that's a wrong mindset to have. I'm just saying that to me, it just sort of, and I don't.
She's not your girlfriend.
Let me ask you this, Sean. Let me ask you this then. Did Rocket League devalue Metroid?
Oh.
That was only available on the Switch, though. We're talking about putting Samus on the PlayStation and Xbox.
To me, this is a slam dunk. If you can get it done, do it. This is brand recognition for a franchise that desperately needs it. Yes, you want to get people to know what Metroid is. Metroid is one of the greatest franchises that people don't buy. Yep. It's been around forever.
Why is
it's one of the great.
Do people not are people out there really like, oh, Metroid? What the fuck is that? Like, yes, maybe younger kids, but playing Fortnite. But are those the kids that are going to be out going and spending money on him? Yeah, they could ask their parents to maybe buy Metroid and stuff like that.
Or V-Bucks.
I just don't see it like being this catapult success for the Metroid franchise when the games have been awesome.
That it will, though.
But they've never sold. The highest selling Metroid game never even hit 3 mil.
You have to think of it this way, though. Yes, it is just a skin. Unless they do a cutscene or a cool trailer that they do, like with The Walking Dead, they didn't really do one for Kratos or Master Chief per se. Master Chief was cool, like the little intro they did with the freezer and the gas station. That was cool. Normally they do, like, even though it's not like Smash, right? We bring characters in, there's a whole kit designed around them. It's very authentic. Every character, well, almost every character is unique. With Fortnite, these are the skins. So the animations, the guns, all that's going to control the same, because otherwise that would change the playing field. However, they have the really cool packs that they bring with these characters. And I could totally see Samus's, her gunship coming down as the paragliders or whatever. Like, there's a lot of customized looks and aesthetics that you could bring in that would get people interested. And I know for a fact too, like, I'm going to say right now, Samus was one of my role models growing up. I would buy that skin in a heartbeat. And I know a lot of other people, especially if they did like the tiered skins that they wanted to do, they could be like, hey, yo, this is like this badass girl character. Where's she from? She's kind of cute. She's got booba. What game is she from? I don't know. There are multiple ways people would get interested.
Booba. Very tall booba.
Yeah, she's
booba.
Yeah, there you go.
Go on.
I think
here's the thing. Is there any data correlation that would show a rise in sales for Halo, for God of War, for Street Fighter because of inclusion in Fortnite? Or do kids play it as the Fortnite thing and look at it and like, oh, cool, it's another skin, move on?
I mean, you could say the same for characters like Marth being put into Smash Brothers. You can see an initial rise like that, but Fire Emblem's still relevant nowadays because people were always interested in it until it came over. Like, it's the same thing. It's all about relevancy. You keep things in the back of your mind when you get, you keep it in your mind. It's advertisement.
I mean, we had what, Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii that came out in what, 2008? 2007. So
1.41 mil sold on a 100 million.
So there's a lot of kids that are playing Fortnite now that like weren't even alive then. Have no idea, Metroid or Samus or any of that stuff. So I mean, I don't know why people seem to think that the Metroid franchise is super valuable, and I mean, if you compare it to Nintendo's other stuff, it's like below Kirby.
It's another F-Zero. It's a franchise that everyone wants, but nobody fucking buys. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, I mean, right now I look at Metroid Prime 4, and in my mind, I'm like, the pressure is like massive on that game. I mean, how long is the development going to be on this thing, if you really think about it? Since they told us about it in 2017, I'd hope they at least started development before then. Is this going to be a 6-year dev cycle on this thing total because we had to restart?
Well, that's why I thought that maybe the game with Metroid, it needs to be something that goes, it can't be what you remember, because they tried what you remembered multiple times. They've tried, and I get it. I know it's a Switch, it's different. But they need to evolve the game somehow. They need to have its Breath of the Wild moment, something, whatever the case is, right? They need to do something in order to get more people excited about it. And having Samus and Fortnite to get more eyeballs on the brand. I mean, all of us would take a Fortnite deal, even if it was for free. We would all say, yeah, use our branding for Fortnite, right? Everybody here would do that.
This to me is
I'm a man of integrity.
It just feels like
but I want to play you
selfish.
as a character in Fortnite. Come on.
You would be like, all right, use me, go ahead, no problem. Just put RGT85. I'm good.
Your dance would be the hands on head thing that you do.
Yeah. I'd buy that skin.
I'd buy that skin.
No, and someone's saying in the chat that I'm saying that because Master Chief and Kratos are in Fortnite, they're being devalued. No, it's completely different. Those companies handle their IPs. Microsoft and Sony handle their IPs very, very differently than Nintendo does. You see tons of cross promotion with Doritos and, Butterfinger bars and shit like that with a lot of these video game characters. You don't really see it that much with Nintendo characters unless it's a Nintendo specific deal like the Nintendo cereal was.
There's a really good.
Well, to be honest, at this point, they've tried stuff with Metroid. Let's try some other stuff with Metroid now to actually get above that 3 million mark. Let's do some. Let's try to be Halo or Kratos here. Let's try that.
Can we also talk about that Samus was on a list that also had like Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, Snake Plissken, Kill Bill
from Escape from New York, like not Snake Plissken from Metal Gear Solid, which it was based on.
Awesome, right? Is that good or bad?
Now, if you want to talk about brand awareness, bring back Snake Plissken. Okay, I'm on board with that because Snake has a gun and it would fit in Fortnite.
Samus is like a blaster cannon.
Yeah, put Mega Man in there then.
I'm okay with that too. Put Mega Man in there.
Put every fucking video game character.
Well, Iron Man
Sonic in there. And have
Iron Man in there.
Sonic
Iron Man
2
he
in
goes
there.
boom and he shoots
I mean,
like with this.
Well, he
Isn't
has a huge
Fortnite
reputation.
basically the most popular game in the world? Just about.
I'm just gonna say, I feel like this is an argument that just comes down to people not fully realizing how big of an impact Fortnite has had on the gaming community. Fortnite basically made gaming a little bit more mainstream. Sure, a lot of people are gonna be like, well, it's very casual gaming. Sure, of course, but you do have a lot of casuals versus also the competitive side. There were people on talk shows and on the news for this game. This game has put gaming and streaming and content creation on a map on a different level, sure, but again, you can't just negate the fact that this is the game that most kids are going to be allowed to play, the whole next generation is going to be playing, and whether or not you agree with whether you like the game or not, money talks. Unfortunately, Nintendo doesn't always do things the way that would necessarily make the most sense, but I don't think it would be a bad thing. But again, they're very protective of their IPs and respect that decision. But Fortnite is a huge game, and
Also,
it's done a lot of good.
Also, we need Mega Man in there because I need these kids to know what that is. It's like that's a problem. Yeah, that's a
I
problem.
tried to teach my daughter about Mega Man, and she legitimately was like, I'm out." She deuced on me as soon as I tried to show her Mega Man. She was like, "I'm out on the Super Nintendo Classic."
I feel like I feel like putting Samus into Fortnite is one of the best marketing moves that Nintendo can make.
Yep.
For that brand right now.
I'd be surprised, but yes.
You see, that's the thing. If it was, then I believe Nintendo would do it.
I don't think they want Samus on another system, though. I think that's their problem.
That's going to be the thing. If the marketing of having Samus in Fortnite is only powerful if the brand can then branch off to Sony and Microsoft, then the marketing really isn't that great for the franchise. Why are you going to buy a Switch if you're a 14-year-old who only owns an Xbox because you have a Samus skin in your game?
Wait, but
you might.
But
Kratos
and them can only be on the PlayStation, so what's the difference?
But then I'm just marketing Samus on a platform that has Smash Brothers, which has a 30 million base.
But there's probably a lot of people who have a Switch and don't even know what Metroid is.
We haven't seen Metroid in decades.
But those people don't care because you could say the exact same thing about there was a ton of people who own the Nintendo Wii who didn't know about.
Wait, hold up. I'm gonna have to disagree. Wait, hold up. Here's why I disagree. Sometimes you have to realize sometimes our audience, when I stream, there's kids that are in there to tell me that are 13, 14. I have these conversations if you watch my streams all the time with kids that say, well, I want to play Metroid, but I wasn't alive, OJ. Like legitimately, I wasn't alive. So they don't. There are kids that are coming up that are 12, 13, 14. Even if you're 15 or 16, it's been a hot minute. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been a while.
There's almost something terrible to that. And no, I can negate that because 3DS, Nintendo DS, okay?
Those weren't.
The fucking kids had those systems. Why did they buy the Metroids on there? They wanted to play the Metroid so bad.
Grasping for straws.
It's not grasping for straws. Then answer it. If I'm grasping for straws, answer it. Why did none of the Metroid 3DS games
fall in love with Metroid? You didn't fall in love with Metroid with just a 3DS game. It was the multiple games that have come out since one. You could be one. Hey, that's cool.
That's a broad statement. That's a blanket statement.
The ones that have yet to come out, that Nintendo should advertise for, why wouldn't you want to advertise with the biggest base of potential customers?
But then hasn't Nintendo been advertising Metroid on the Switch? They have Super Metroid on Nintendo Switch Online. They have Metroid on Nintendo Switch Online. Samus is in Smash Brothers. Samus is in Rocket League.
Samus has been in Smash since the 64, though.
Pretty well on the Switch. And if the 2D Metroid comes out this year and it doesn't sell, then that's once again, I think, a reflection of the franchise itself. And
okay. That 2D Metroid game. All right. So like we expect that to be announced at E3. Okay. That game, I feel like if that game does come out and it doesn't do well, that is going to be an interesting situation.
That game has to do. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It will do well. It will do well enough. It's not going to sell gangbusters, but it's going to do well enough.
Metroid Prime Hunters almost on the DS almost outsold Prime Trilogy on the Wii 2-1.
I mean,
okay, and how many people were disappointed by it?
By Prime Hunters on the DS?
Yes.
Not many.
That was like one of the
online first-person shooter on the DS. It had native voice chat. You had over 30 maps. It was amazing.
How much did Prime Hunters sell?
It sold a whopping 1.08 million.
Wow.
What about Federation Force? How did that sell?
That's like 0.5%.
Federation Force the last updated number was 150K.
Okay, but you're also comparing Trilogy, which is of course re-release of the games that are already backwards compatible, that people can play backwards compatible on the Wii with the GameCube. Come on, I see what you're saying, Sean. I don't
notice that Metroid diehards always have an excuse. There's always something.
I call these people out. Hold on. I love Metroid, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's worth a shot. Now it's worth a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and see how it does. It's worth a shot. That's
yes.
If we're talking strictly having Samus and Fortnite just on the Switch, I just don't see how that is going to be a reliable marketing tactic beyond
You
what
gotta put it everywhere. You gotta put it everywhere.
You have
helmets in Mario Kart. You have her in Smash Brothers. It's represented in your biggest brands. Adding Fortnite to the mix isn't going to make this delicious meal.
I do have a nephew who only plays Fortnite on their Switch, and they have no idea what Metroid is at all.
Yeah.
None.
You're talking
if they see a
about
character running around in a red suit, they're going to say, I want to check out what this character is from.
Aside from brand awareness.
You see the silhouette, you see the character, and you associate it. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because they saw The Mandalorian that got added, and they wanted to start watching that show because it was in Fortnite.
Yep.
Go on, Jordan.
But also, I was just going to say, like, at the end of the day, even if it doesn't bring brand awareness, I don't see the harm in having the skin in there. It's just a skin in a video game. It's a cool thing. Oh, I'm on my Switch. Cool. My exclusive is I can purchase the Samus skin. If I have a PlayStation, I can play as Kratos. Like, who like if it doesn't do anything good or bad, why?
I'm curious how it would do anything bad to the franchise if they.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
I'm curious how it would damage it in any way.
It's not going to hurt it. I can just see Nintendo saying there's no value in it for us if we wanted to say put it on these other platforms, and they could look at it and say, why are we going to allow Epic to use our character skin for us to get 30% cut of the revenue from the purchases when we have our own games that we can market our own character in and get all of the revenue? So at the end of the day, Nintendo would weigh these metrics and say the value simply is not, it's not there for us.
And what are we bringing brand awareness to, by the way? Metroid as a franchise, but if there's if Nintendo hasn't announced the Metroid and we don't know about any Metroid game beyond Metroid Prime 4, which
they obviously wouldn't.
You know what I noticed?
Until there's something coming out.
You know what? You know what I noticed? We talked about like all these like dead franchises before. Like, what do we want to bring back? And none of us said Metroid Prime.
Well, because it's not dead. It's a teaser.
We haven't had one since 2008. We named games that came out after 2008.
Well, we know stuff's coming though, so it's not completely dead.
I was gonna say, it probably almost got canceled at one point. So
they would have told us by now, you know.
It had to be completely rebuilt, you know. So it's
that's not dead though. That's just.
I'm not saying it is dead. I'm just saying it's not really plausible to think it's going to be this year or potentially even next year.
It's not dead.
Yeah, well, because it's not a dead franchise. That's what we're trying. It's not a. So they said we didn't say that it was. No reason it's not dead. Like Golden Sun, is Golden Sun dead? That's dead, right? Is it kind of dead?
Yeah, that's dead.
That's dead for a while.
Yeah,
that one's dead.
That's like dead because it's been like a decade.
Metroid's in that limbo of space where they're really deciding which way to take the series right now. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to get that 2D Metroid, and that's going to be fun and a throwback for a lot of people who like that style of Metroid. And then when Prime 4 releases, it's going to have a lot of the original Prime games DNA in it, but it's going to take the whatever they want the series to be now in a completely new and different direction. I think it's going to start something new and try to be a AAA like front and center again franchise. This gap that it's had, I don't think will happen again unless the worst happens and no one buys it.
John, I know you've probably talked about this, and I know I'm not sure if this is have you discussed where you wanted to see the Metroid franchise go? Because I think you probably have in a video. I don't remember. Like, what do you want with it, John? I've watched RGT, but
I mean, I feel like when they were trying to build it in Nintendo, they're at Nintendo with Bandai, they were having a hard time figuring that out, like with the narrative and the structure of the game. But to me, it's like you just got to go back to the basics of it, really. I mean, just the Metroidvania style. I feel like they were going to get away from that, and I almost thought they might go more other M with it almost.
Well, I think that's why it went back to retro.
I think that's why I went back to retro as well, because they were like, this is not turning out like a Metroid Prime game where it's, the adventure first person shooter aspect and storytelling throughout your adventure. But like, I don't know. I that's my biggest problem, is fitting Metroid Prime into 2023 or something. If it will still feel current then. So it's hard to say.
I think the series has to stay true to the Prime roots, but it does have to evolve. And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. This shit needs to have a decent, at least at bare minimum, a decent online multiplayer component.
That's the other thing. It has to. I think it does have to have online multiplayer.
But wait, does it?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
if it wants to be taken as a big relevant franchise and it's doing the same thing, you did Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS that had a robust, the online was more robust than the single player was at the end of the day, but you still got 8 to 10 hours out of the single player experience, but then the online was what kept you in. I don't think that after this long of a departure, because let's be realistic, this isn't going to be a 20, 30, 40 hour single player experience, more than likely. It's not like the other games were. So you have to have something else. Especially,
it's probably gonna be like a 10 or 12 hour game.
Especially when you're doing it's not a first person shooter, it's a first person adventure, but you have a fucking gun and you're in the first person. You gotta have online. You have to. If they didn't care about a multiplayer aspect, they wouldn't have done local multiplayer in the previous Metroid games. I remember when Prime 3 came out, everyone was like, where the fuck is the online multiplayer on this? Like, why doesn't it have it? It was a strange thing, but obviously, the Wii was the Wii. But no, you come out with a first person adventure, first person shooter, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in 2022, the earliest, you have to have online. Sorry.
I agree and disagree.
Does that have online?
I think
yes, it does.
There's an online feature on there.
Yes, it has online play.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I like the original Doom.
People want to just deathmatch, and it's like they do a bunch of weird other things instead.
I do think, Sean, you do have a point. I do think adding something multiplayer is going to help keep the game relevant beyond its initial, like, oh, we play through a campaign and maybe we get another one in a couple of years, But I would also, for a lengthy, crazy, investment-worthy story, I would take an incredible experience over multiplayer any day if that's where they were focusing on.
But why can't we have both?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if there was an option like that's like if we put all of our team to work on the game itself and not a multiplayer aspect, I would 100% take an incredible, rich story over the multiplayer. But if they can do both, then I would love to see a multiplayer aspect to it because I think that would be really cool.
I feel like this game's going to come out, and if it doesn't do well, it's going to be just overall, devastating to the Metroid brand.
It'll be the best-selling Metroid game.
It has to be.
It doesn't have much competition.
The Switch effect.
It has to. If it can't outsell like 3 million copies on the Switch, that by the time it's out, we'll probably be dealing with 120 million unit Switch or something, right? It has to do better than the previous best-selling one.
You would think it's still going to have a lot of obstacles ahead of it.
If it doesn't, I'm going to look back on this moment where they didn't take the Fortnite deal. If they don't, and that's on Nintendo then. Because that tells me they didn't go all the way with the idea of marketing and pushing Metroid. If that's the case,
or you can be like us Kid Icarus fans and take your defeat in silence.
I already know where we are with this Metroid franchise. It is that effect, like you're saying, OJ, where it has that Kid Icarus effect. There's a lot of people who are fans of it, but like when this game comes out, it doesn't sell.
Yeah. I think it'll do better than that. It'll do better than Kid Icarus.
I think there's also going to be a lot of I was, agreeing with what Jordan's saying too. Obviously, people are going to feel very differently when they think of more robust storyline. Obviously, Other M had more of a robust storyline and people liked it and people didn't because people have perceptions of how Samus is and how she will be to them. But I think that it's also going to come down to how the trailer is going to look. What's the music that's going to support these trailers? Are we going to get a look into what the story is going to be about? Are we going to see character development? Are we going to get to see more of the characters themselves in these beautiful 3D graphics? I genuinely think that, like Breath of the Wild, the 2017 trailer is considered like so like it's considered, like in my opinion, one of the best video game trailers of all time, because it hit the mysteriousness of what the game was about, but it also hit the urgency, and the music had a trailer just for that. That's that trailer the music doesn't even have its own name for the soundtrack. It's just the 2017 trailer. And I think genuinely, like if they're wanting to sell a story on this, if they're wanting getting people invested on it, if they're wanting to kind of cater to these new people who might be interested in these single player stories, they're going to have to really nail that marketing of not just outside games such as Fortnite, but genuinely within itself. How are we going to launch these trailers? How are we going to tease this with our team and everything outside, especially with social media? Like I'm incredibly excited for it, but also I'm terrified at the same time, because Metroid just hasn't really had that opportunity, because it's been so long since we've really seen a 3D on console home screen adventure.
I guess we'll find out at least where we are with the Switch and Metroid fans when.
Is it
John, you got really quiet suddenly for some reason.
okay? I thought that was just me.
Hello.
John's not important what he says. What's important is what I say. And what I say is that Metroid Prime 4 is going to have a great single player experience. And if they do something that kind of revolutionizes the franchise, it can maybe get by without having online multiplayer. Maybe it might be able to get by.
What if Metroid Prime 4 comes out, and this would be like the worst case scenario, is the lead is still Samus, and then you have companions for an online co-op, which are the hunters from Metroid Prime 3 and Federation Force, and you play as like Sylix with Samus, and you go on bounty missions.
That'd be cool.
There's a lot of cool ideas.
It's the Metroid I wanted, because the problem with Federation Force was it was the Metroid nobody wanted when it came out, and that's why it was hated. So
there was more problems.
What if it was SAX from Metroid Fusion? That'd be pretty cool.
If you were like hunting her, that'd be cool.
Oh, what if they do co-op? Would you be okay? Sean, would co-op be?
Co-op would be pretty cool.
Would be good enough for what you think?
I'd have to see it. I'd have to. I mean, because what is it co-oping? The whole game. It
like
takes
missions.
2. Do I get a friend pass?
Certain
Is Joseph
missions.
Barnes gonna tell me to fuck myself? If so, then yes.
What? How do we?
Like, so for example, let me give you an example of like a co-op that maybe they can do, just to outline. Have you ever played Bayonetta 2? You have a co-op.
I have played that game.
And then like you transfer some of the stuff, resources back to the single player. Something like that? No, not good enough.
What about Army of Two? Super interactive. Try to get around things.
Kane and Lynch. Remember Kane and Lynch?
I think it was the same company that did Army of Two.
Yeah. See, like at that point, if you're a hardcore Metroid fan and that's the type of game they come out like Metroid Destiny style, would you then say this isn't Metroid? This isn't the Metroid I want. I wanted to have a single player Samus Metroidvania style game, and instead you're giving me another just Western first person.
That's what the 2D Samus is for. That's what the 2D Metroid game is for, right? So
Oh, Sean, Jeff's saying no multiplayer.
it's really split into two camps. There are people that want multiplayer so bad, and there's people that say screw it. You know, it is split, but I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're split or not. Buy the game. You can be pissed off. I don't care if you're split or not.
Okay, hold on.
buy
If the game
damn
comes out. Okay, so if Metroid Prime 4 comes out, it gets like an 88 or a 90 or something, like good reviews.
Yeah.
Everything looks solid across the board. It comes out and it bombs in sales. You know what?
Don't say that.
I mean, what else can they do other than that's the tough part.
Just keep making them. It's Nintendo. They've had record-breaking sales. Who cares? Just make the game.
You know why they don't? You know why they don't do it? Because no Metroid games ever sell in Japan. The only Metroid game that ever broke $1 million in Japan was Metroid on the Famicom.
Yeah, it's a Western focused game.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, they got to at least get Metroid Prime Trilogy out like soonish, I think, so they can start at least getting people introduced to the series. There's a lot of people who just haven't played Metroid Prime at all. So
I think
get
the
that
timing of that'll be important. Yeah.
Get that out on the Switch soonish. Like, I'd like to see it this year, next year maybe at the latest, because it's got to have at least a bit of a window between that and Prime 4, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Trilogy in and of itself is a risky release in some way, because you're going to bring it to the Switch that has a new audience of gamer on the platform. If you buy Trilogy because you're curious about what this Metroid Prime thing that people keep talking about is, now you play Metroid Prime 1, you say, I really like this game. You play 2, say, I kind of hate this game. You play 3, you're like, I'm okay with that. Now, the trilogy could either excite you for Metroid Prime 4 or it could turn you off from the project altogether.
Two's not that
more
bad.
than
How you
Fortnite
receive-
would.
It depends on how you receive the original trilogy. Not everyone enjoys a first-person adventure.
Yeah, I get that, but I think first-person games are a bit more popular now. Even like we see Resident Evil. I mean, Village is all first-person like that. First-person past two iterations. So I think they got to at least get the trilogy out there, because buying 4 without that is going to make no sense. So.
Well, you also think
Unless they
too,
reboot it.
with the streaming and content creation platform too, this will probably be the most marketing outside of the professional landscape, where Metroid is going to have so many eyes on it. There, whether the directory continues to be big for it or not, there's going to be tons of content that Metroid hasn't really had made for it. So I'm excited.
All I know is if this game comes out, reviews well, positive press all around it, the Metroid fans got to show up, and it's got to be more than 500,000 of them.
Yes.
No, you know what? I think that we're not talking about. I think what
That's
this
all I'm
game
saying.
is very important. I think the graphics need to be like super crisp, like extra good. I think they need to get that visual. Like people.
I think retro needs to go over the top.
Other M was really good. Other M was a really pretty game. So
and everybody was
I have high
wow
hopes.
when they first saw Other M. Everybody was like, "Oh wow, this looks amazing." At it was I think E3 2009 or E3 2008.
Didn't it come out in 2011? Wasn't it the year before?
Or it was like E3 2010. Sorry, E3 2010 or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, when I first saw it, I thought it was like crazy good looking for the Wii game, you know? So, and it grabbed everybody's attention. There was just other things. So I think that that's also a very important factor is, the game has to like look stunning.
It has to look
like,
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to look really good.
Well,
too.
it should. I assume there'll be a Switch revision out by then. They'll probably show it off with that. And there's hoping it really catches people by surprise with how good it looks. And we work towards its release. And Evan, you said we're all good with Discord questions, right?
Yep.
Okay, let me go through here as we finish up, and we'll do outros as well. Sean, can you let everyone know where they can find you while I go through these super chats and Streamlabs?
Find me at my grandma's house tomorrow eating roast. Now you can find me on RGT85. I did a video, just like everyone did a video, talking about the potential of Metroid Prime Trilogy. But unlike those other videos, I had a good snippet of an arcade one-up machine that's allegedly been leaked and was supposedly going to be announced at E3 2021. It looks pretty fucking legit to me, and if it is, like I said, I don't have enough room. And then I have no idea what I'm doing this week, but I'm sure there will be videos on the channel.
Sounds good. This is from Eric saying, I'm trying to buy an authentic Conker's Bad Fur Day for my bro's birthday. There are $25 copies on eBay, but I feel they're not authentic. How can I tell? The fact that they're $25, how you can tell.
Yeah. Don't buy bootleg cartridges. No. They're terrible.
There's a lot of them on eBay right now. It's that Paper Mario is one that has that. Smash Brothers for the 64 has that. Most of the Conker's Bad Fur Days, I believe, are right around $100 minimum.
Just for a loose cart, about $100.
Yeah.
If you want complete in box, you're going to be paying a lot more.
The best way you can tell, though, is a lot of the eBay listings will actually open the cartridge up and take a picture of the board on the inside. You want those listings that take a picture of the board. Any high dollar Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and anything that's a cartridge, they should be more than willing to open it up and show you the board inside. That should be no problem. So those are the ones I would look for to verify. Bradley says our group is no longer private and ready to accept everybody with open arms. The people versus RGT. Sean, you already posted that, right?
I'll post it again though. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Very good.
Wait, they said it's private? The group is private?
It was private when it first went up. I believe it was created tonight. MVG just got a shout out in the group.
Oh, well, I'll have to join it then.
Happy belated birthday to the man, the myth, the legend, MVG. Go check out his channel. Fucking it's just me and the other guy in the group right now, too. It's fucking great.
This is Tariq says, forget Samus. We need Captain Falcon in Smash. There you go. Zanam says, in terms of iconic characters, do you think that Mario is at the level of Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny? Love you guys.
Mario?
Yeah.
Mario's considered he's considered one of the top 10 most recognizable characters / logos.
Yeah. I would say so.
I would say so.
Which one's bigger, Big Chungus or Mario?
Daniel says, instead of Master Chief and Smash, we get go and get Mario and Halo. Look at that fan art of it. That was pretty cool. Ross says, so why doesn't Metroid historically do well? What is it about that franchise that does not appeal to most gamers? It's mostly Western focused, as Sean alluded to. So it's mostly going to be up to people in like the Americas, for example, and Europe to buy this game. But I think Metroid Prime 4 will probably do better than other Metroid Prime games in Japan as well, just because of the overwhelming amount of Switch systems there. So we'll see. Dark says, Village is creepy. I played for an hour and took a break for a day. Also good to see OJ here. Designer says, I mean, what is a Metroid game in 2021? Can it follow Prime mechanics, or does it need to be something totally new? I think it can still follow the mechanics, but it needs to be revamped some. Like Retro is going to have to take a long, hard look at some of those mechanics and modernize them a bit more. Reese says, at least with 2D Metroids, these are games that people can finish a single playthrough within 6 hours. If a new 2D Metroid with the same playtime is released at $6, do you all think this could create negative assumptions?
It'll be
I
a
think
challenge.
no longer than that. But also pricing.
I mean, I've seen some surprising games released at $6. What was that Pokemon game that Jordan was all about? And I didn't understand
Mystery
why.
Dungeon.
Yeah, that one. They charged $60 for
Listen,
that.
man,
thing.
I come back from a phone call and you're talking slander on Mystery Dungeon again.
And, yo, that sold like a million plus, dude. That's
There you go.
2 million.
2D
you know?
Metroid should have no problem. Okay, price should mean nothing with that thing. Jared says, can a $60 2D Metroid compete with Hollow Knight?
That's the challenge Nintendo has to have an answer to. They have to come through and say, our game is $60. It's, let's say, 10 hours long. And then you have a Hollow Knight that was, what, $20?
And made by Team Jerry.
That was
not that many people.
It's Nintendo. That's all about perception. Nintendo has to show that their game is worth the $60 investment, that the quality is there, that the experience is there. Team Cherry has made a masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, we have some other games that like people like Shadow Complex is awesome, right? That kind of Metroid.
Shadow Complex game rules ass.
So maybe they'll kind of play around with the 2D, 3D kind of section with the 2D Metroid and like play around with perspective. Like, there's some cool stuff I'm sure they could do with that.
But Shadow Complex is also a bunch of game too. It was only what, $20.
But
I like that game. Was awesome though. I like
that game.
Rules
That
ass.
game was awesome.
If you have a physical, not anymore.
I got it. I got it.
How much are they going for physical, MVG?
A lot. A lot.
The more you frame it.
That was actually the first game I bought from Limited Run Games because I fucking loved it so much. And I was like, okay.
I remember when it came out on the Xbox Live Arcade and I downloaded it. I think I played through it I think it was one sitting. I just played all the way through it. It's such a good game.
Yeah, I like that game too.
Hectic World said, when Nintendo talks to Microsoft about Azure, then talk about online because Nintendo has done. That's what we're talking about with xCloud streaming, right? Is them starting to work towards that maybe with Game Pass. So Sony made a deal with Microsoft though when it comes to the online stuff. So
Yeah.
never know. Nintendo could too. Sheem says if Prime 4 had this is what you were talking about, Nate. Who are you talking about?
For what?
The Silex?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Prime 4 had Silex and Hunter style multiplayer, I would buy that day one. There you go.
You're gonna buy it day one regard. Who said that?
This is from G Sheems.
G Sheems, you're gonna buy it regardless. If you want to see this friend, if it's good game, buy it, then you get that later. Listen, it should not be dependent. I don't want people to have an out when Metroid Prime 4 comes out.
It just what they should do is they should just re-release Shadow Complex on the Nintendo Switch so I can buy it again.
Yeah, that should come to the Switch.
What the fuck is going on with that?
That would be cool, actually. That was one of the few games I remember that was not backwards compatible with the PS5 when they first put that list out. They fixed it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Chair. I'm gonna bother Chair right now.
What? Loom Noom says, do you think they'll drop Prime 4 in Metroid Prime 4 and opt for another name? That way it can be marketed as a fresh start despite being a sequel. Like Halo Infinite. Probably, yeah. I don't think they're gonna leave 4 in there.
It's just sort of God of War thing. Just call it Metroid.
Yeah, technically they did that also with Resident Evil a little bit, right? Like it's just Village, but it's like alluded that it's 8 or whatever.
Yeah, so they could definitely have some sort of name for it that isn't just 4, you know. So
God of War. It's just called God of War.
It's called Metroid Prime.
Gears of War 5
Prime.
Years of they've all been screwing this Gears 5. For some reason they dropped of War.
Metroid Prime, please buy this game. That's that right on the box.
Please buy this game.
Right on the box. Samuel says, how many units will Prime 4 need to move to be considered a success? 5 million, 10 million?
I would say 5 million.
Yeah, I'd say 5.
4 and up. 4 and up.
4 and up. Mm.
Okay, yeah, it has to be. It has to be the best-selling Metroid. It has to be the best-selling Metroid game. Like it has to be. Otherwise, there's a
it
problem
can't
there.
be like, oh, they leave it and it's sales overall. It's got to be like instant. It's got
to be fast.
Yeah, fast. It can't be like, oh, well, it's been out for 5 years and it sold 3 million. It's like, no. They want to make their money quickly because they're a capitalistic business, you know. Yeah. So it needs to be quick, not player's choice over the course of 10 years.
Like I said, especially because this development has to be a fairly costly one. So yeah. William says, I have my Series X, Switch, PS3, Vita TV, SNES Classic, and GameCube hooked up to an HDMI switch, but I want to get that M Classic for the Switch and GameCube. Would this be bad for my Series X or the M Classic? Be bad for your Series X. I don't really know if the Series X would even benefit that much from the M Classic, to be honest.
I wouldn't. There's no point, right?
I'm not a fan of that M Classic.
Same.
There you go.
I mean, I have it in
a retro tank.
I have it in
retro
plastic.
tank.
Yeah. The Retro Tank 5X, right? MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. And since we talked about the Retro Tink, I have a Retro Tink 5X video coming on Monday. So check that out. Thanks for having me on.
I'm checking that out right away. Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah. What about Miss Click? Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me here on YouTube as Miss Click Gaming, or you can find me streaming almost every day at MissClick_live. Other than that, you can find me on social media with Twitter and Instagram. And well, I don't know, as more Metroid stuff comes out, you'll definitely be seeing a lot more of my opinions about it because Samus is my girl and I love her.
There you go. This is from designer saying Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch would do better than a skin in Fortnite, maybe. Which one would generate more revenue? Maybe that skin. But they have to.
I don't know about that.
You don't know? You don't think so? How much those skins cost? $10-15? It's probably more than I would expect.
And if the skin's exclusive to the Switch, then anybody buying it on the Switch, part of that revenue.
No, it's got to be on everything. It's got to be on available to all Fortnite customers. All Fortnite customers.
If it's a bundle, I mean, the skin normally by itself is anywhere from 8 to 10, but it'll probably be 15 to 20 for a full pack.
I mean, Metroid Prime Trilogy, if it's got to be one or the other, Metroid Prime Trilogy has to exist on the Switch before Prime 4.
Definitely. I would like to.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely. It has to. Like, yeah, Jeff Grubbs Game Mess says Luigi's Mansion 3 sold 10 million copies. A well-reviewed Metroid Prime 4 will outsell Ghost of Tsushima. Ooh.
What's Ghost at? Like 5, right?
At 5 as of November.
I mean,
only 5 for that game?
Wrong.
Okay. I mean, I hope so, Jeff. I hope so. Metroid in general, the franchise needs a W in terms of sales. So,
but
yeah,
the reason why Ghost is it's just because it's still full price. That's the reason why it's not selling more. Because like people expect price drops and it hasn't gotten it yet. So
Sony's not interested in that anymore. So that's what I'll say. Yeah. So Jeff, I hope so. I think Prime 4, if it's well reviewed, if everything looks good around it, positive press, there's no reason it shouldn't sell, but
it should. It should.
I mean, you can say the same thing about the other Metroid games.
I know.
He
I'm
says
with you, Sean.
6.5 mil in the chat.
Yeah, 6.5 mil for Ghost now.
Yep.
That's for Metroid Prime 4 to sell over 6.5 million.
That's gonna be rough. It'd be tough for it to do that. It has to be like a genre-defining type of game for it to do that, in my opinion. It'd have to be
like New Super Mario Party.
Oh my gosh,
Hey,
that online is kind of. They got the online in there, man. It's
still finding ways.
Hey, 15 million copies sold. You know, just setting the bar really high for that kind of thing. Strawman says, "My cousin gifted me all the Halo games that are on Steam. I don't know any of the story, so which one should I play first? Reach,
multiplayer,
Reach, yeah.
3.
Start with Reach, work your way up from there. Be all right.
Is Reach isn't it like the first one in the storyline, right?
Yeah.
Or is that
chronologically they started with Reach and then they worked up from there. So because Reach is like the fall of Reach, where they have all the other Spartans and it's pretty cool. Actually, the campaign for that game is pretty good. So
yeah, I played it. I just don't remember it.
That's the one.
I just have no idea what the hell I was doing. I was just shooting people.
Let's see, Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Jordan Fringe on YouTube. I've been doing about 2 videos a week here. They've been doing unbelievably well, so I appreciate all the support on them. We are only 3,500 away now from 50K, and that'd be super cool to hit that. So check out, I got 2 new videos this next week. I got one on Tuesday and one on Friday. So yeah, check it out if you're interested.
This one is from, I do want to shout out Shamsa. This was days ago. This was after the last podcast, but she did donate $100 through Streamlabs. So big shout out to Shamsa.
Shout out Shamsa.
Here. It was off air, so I wanted to make sure I got that here tonight. Thank you very much, Shamsa. Absolutely appreciate that. Mr. Stud Muffin says, happy birthday to Dreamcast guy. Hope you like that vampire lady drawing. If anyone else saw that on Twitter, I am so sorry. Log says, what's up, SpawnCast? Recently got Mario Party because of the online update. That was all I was waiting for. There you go. You know what? It's going to be great because Mario Party's going to get some other sales spike. Watch that game get to 20 million before the end of the Switch's life. All I had to do was complain for like 3 years. Aaron Davis says, might Nintendo add Bluetooth support for wireless keyboard and mouse for Game Builder Garage? I usually get those little dongles anyway you plug in, so for like keyboards, so you can still use a wireless one technically through like the 2.4 gigahertz. Shinru says, besides the Game Boy player, why buy a GameCube when you can have a Wii? 2 consoles in one is very appealing.
Well, to be fair, even though I do give the GameCube a hard time, the visual quality, the image quality on the GameCube with component cables or the HDMI is superior than playing GameCube games on the Wii.
Yep, and you do have that the newer HDMI plugs that are out now for the GameCube that make it look pretty good overall. But I think that's everything there. OJ, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. Thank you guys for all the support. A lot of SpawnCast dudes been rolling through to the live streams, so thank you once again. Thanks for having me on. And I'll be having a big video on Monolith Soft. We're going to be getting into the Monolith Soft discussion. So there's been some information, some potential new things that could be going down. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow on the channel.
E3 things? E3 things? All right.
So there's some stuff that could potentially going on with that. So I'll be doing a big video on that. And of course, I'll have a bunch of Nintendo and RPG content, stuff like Final Fantasy VII Intergrades coming out. So I'll be doing a lot of content on that and other stuff. So thanks for having me on once again.
Emlyn in the mix says, thanks for the show from Australia.
There you go.
There you go. Juice Man Vaughn says, I don't know, based on the comments of these fraudulent Metroid fans, I expect 10 million in sales. What about you guys? Hey, you know what? Why not? Let's do it.
Yo, shout outs to JMV. He's the homie.
Then what about Nate? Where can everyone find you, dude?
You can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate. MVG and I will have an episode up early next week where we talk about exciting things. So be on the lookout for that.
What are you talking about?
Silent E3 things?
Paul Konerko?
Racist things? What?
Oh, no.
That's why I've never been on the invited to the podcast. Okay, I see how it is.
Educating, informative things.
Thinking for yourself? Questioning authority?
Batu Pichu.
Wrong show.
Okay. And then what about...
So we'll be up early next week. People should be on the lookout for it.
Cool. Okay, what about Evan?
You can find me on Twitter at Kimrick's Project. Whatever I'm doing, I usually post on there. I'm going to try to stream, still sticking to the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday schedule. We might try Hood a little this week. It was interesting when I first attempted it, but for the most part, we'll be doing GTFO. I'm still trying to get through this rundown, and it is rough.
Okay. And then Avedon Smith says, have a good weekend. Have a good week, good people. Thanks, Avedon.
Thank you, Avedon.
Awesome. And I guess that's it here for the SpawnCast. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Or not.
Think for yourself.
Metroid Prime.